Art isn't just about beauty, it's about making the invisible visible. My name is Noah Reyes-Chin, and this is the story of how my trash obsession sparked a global environmental movement. But to understand how we got here, we need to start in a garage in Los Angeles, where a young artist saw beauty in what others threw away. Growing up in a family of academics, I was always the outsider. My mother was an environmental policy professor at UCLA, my father a renowned economist, and my older sister Elena was making waves in climate science research. Then there was me, spending weekends dumpster diving for materials to create massive installations about consumption and waste. Me Joe, my mother would sigh, watching me sort through my latest haul of discarded plastics and electronics. You could be working on environmental policy instead of playing with garbage. What they didn't understand was that I wasn't just making art, I was making statements. Every installation was a data visualization, every sculpture a commentary on what would later become the foundation of the waste art movement. The tension peaked during a family dinner party, while everyone discussed climate change policies and economic solutions. I was sketching ideas for a chandelier made from ocean plastic. Art won't save the environment, my father declared. You're wasting your talent on trash. I looked up from my sketch and replied, Dad, sometimes people need to see the truth, not just read about it in reports. At CalArts, I finally found my artistic community. My professors saw something unique in my approach to environmental art, while others created traditional pieces about nature. I was transforming waste itself into powerful statements about human impact on the planet. The breakthrough came during my final year. I had been creating increasingly large installations, but I realized we were thinking about environmental art too conventionally. We weren't just dealing with aesthetics, we were dealing with the potential to change human behavior through visceral experience. Late one night, surrounded by sorted plastic waste in my studio, I had my epiphany. Traditional environmental education relied on facts and figures, but what if we could make people feel the reality of our waste crisis? I developed a revolutionary approach that combined data visualization with immersive art installations. My pieces, which I called datascapes, transformed environmental statistics into physical experiences that people could walk through and interact with. My thesis exhibition caught the attention of Maria Santos, a curator at the Museum of Contemporary Art. She offered me a chance to create a major installation about plastic pollution. My family's reaction was predictable. Gallery installation? My sister scoffed. I just published a groundbreaking paper on climate modeling. But I had stopped seeking their approval. Within months, I had transformed the museum's main hall into an immersive experience built entirely from ocean waste, my heart racing with possibility. The initial response exceeded everyone's expectations. The installation, titled 1 Week's Worth, used exactly 1 week's worth of plastic waste from Los Angeles to create a tsunami-like wave that visitors had to walk under. But what really set it apart was the integration of real-time data. The wave would grow and shift based on current consumption patterns in the city. Maria was ecstatic. Noah, this isn't just art, it's a wake-up call. Word spread quickly in both the art and environmental communities. Museums began requesting exhibitions, and environmental organizations wanted to collaborate. But it wasn't until the global waste crisis of 2024 that our work caught international attention. The crisis had overwhelmed waste management systems worldwide, leading to devastating environmental impacts. While politicians debated solutions, my traveling exhibition Mountains of Tomorrow, which recreated famous mountains using each host city's monthly waste, was changing public perception and behavior. UNESCO took notice. Suddenly, I was being invited to speak at international conferences, consulted by environmental agencies, and featured in global media. My installations were being commissioned for major cities worldwide, and similar projects were starting in developing nations. Yet my family remained skeptical. Art installations won't change policy, my mother said during one of our rare family gatherings. You could be writing environmental legislation by now. I didn't bother arguing. The results spoke for themselves. By 2025, cities that hosted my installations showed significant increases in recycling rates and decreases in single-use plastic consumption. The data was clear. Experiencing the reality of waste through art was changing behavior more effectively than traditional advocacy. Which brings us to today, standing at this UN climate summit, facing a room full of world leaders, environmentalists, and yes, my family, finally here to witness what their garbage collector had become. My aunt's dismissive comment still hung in the air. Noah's still collecting garbage. But as I looked out at the sea of faces, at the screens showing images of my installations worldwide, I felt only certainty. The cameras flashed as I began to speak. 20 years ago, a young artist believed that transforming trash into art could change how we see our impact on the planet. Today, I'm here to tell you that he was right. Environmental statistics aren't just numbers, they're stories waiting to be told, and we now have the power to tell them in ways that move people to action. I clicked to the first slide, showing the impact of my installations on public behavior. When traditional environmental education couldn't motivate change, we had to think differently. We stopped preaching about waste and started making people experience it. For the next hour, I explained the philosophy behind my work, the combination of data and emotion, the way we transformed statistics into physical experiences, how we made environmental impact tangible and personal, but more importantly, I shared our vision. We can change human behavior, I declared, not through lectures or reports, but by making people feel the weight of their choices. The solution wasn't in more facts and figures, it was in making the abstract concrete, the invisible visible. The presentation ended with footage of my latest installation, Inheritance, a series of children's bedrooms filled entirely with the amount of waste each child would be responsible for in their lifetime. The impact was profound. Later, at the reception, my family approached. My mother's eyes were wet with tears. "Noah," she said softly, "we were wrong, so wrong." My father, ever the economist, had questions about the behavioral impact data. Even Elena, the climate scientist, was particularly interested in collaborating on data visualization projects. "You really did change environmental policy," she admitted, hugging me tightly, "with trash, of all things." But the most meaningful moment came when a young artist approached me, carrying a portfolio of sketches. "Mr. Reyesjan," she said earnestly, "I want to follow your path. Everyone says art can't change policy, but..." I smiled, remembering my own journey. "Let me tell you a secret," I said. "Every revolution begins with someone seeing things differently. Never let anyone tell you your medium isn't powerful enough or your approach isn't serious enough." That evening, I stood on my hotel balcony, watching the city lights. My phone was buzzing with messages, congratulations, collaboration requests, interview invitations, but my thoughts were in that long-ago garage, where a young artist believed in the power of transforming trash into truth. The next morning, I was back at our latest installation site, because while awards and recognition are nice, the real reward is watching awareness grow. Every changed mind, every reduced consumption pattern, every policy shift, these are the true measures of success. My team has grown now. Artists from around the world come to learn our methods, each bringing their own interpretations and innovations. We've expanded beyond waste, creating installations about climate change, biodiversity loss, and environmental justice. The work isn't always easy. We face challenges from skeptics, funding issues, and the sheer scale of environmental problems. But every time I see data showing behavior change in communities where our installations appear, I know we're on the right path. Last week, I received a package from my parents. Inside was my first sketchbook, filled with drawings of waste-based sculptures. They'd kept it all these years. Tucked inside was a note. "Dear Noah, we kept this to remind us of how wrong we were. Your garbage collection wasn't just art, it was activism. It was innovation. It was a new way of making people care about our planet. We're sorry we didn't see it sooner. You didn't just create art, you showed us a new way of changing minds. Love, Mom and Dad." I keep that sketchbook in our studio now, alongside our latest installation designs and impact data. It reminds me that great achievements often grow from rejected ideas, that change can come through unexpected channels, and that sometimes, the most powerful statements are made with the things people throw away. As I write this, I'm preparing for another installation. My hands will get dirty, my mind will race with new ideas, and somewhere, another person will see environmental truth in a new way. My aunt might still think I'm collecting garbage, but I know better. I'm changing consciousness, one installation at a time. And to that young artist in his garage, believing in the power of trash to tell truth, you were right all along. Keep collecting, keep creating, keep believing. The world needs your kind of vision. Today, when people ask me what I do, I don't say I'm an artist or an environmentalist or even an activist. I tell them I'm a truth translator. Because that's what my work is really about, taking cold statistics and turning them into emotional experiences that change how people see their relationship with the planet. Environmental awareness is growing, faster than anyone thought possible. Our installations have been featured in over 100 cities worldwide. The United Nations has incorporated art-based education into their environmental programs. And every day, more people are beginning to understand what that young artist in Los Angeles knew all along, that sometimes, the most powerful way to change policy is to change hearts first. My family now jokes that they should have helped me dumpster dive years ago. But this was never about creating traditional art. It was about proving that unconventional approaches, when driven by purpose, can transform how society addresses its biggest challenges. As I prepare for my next installation at the World Economic Forum, I think about all the other creative activists out there, the ones being told their methods are too unconventional, their approach too artistic. To them, I say, hold on to your vision. Nurture it like a precious material. Because you never know which unique perspective might grow into a solution that changes the world. The museums are filled with environmental truth, and somewhere in Los Angeles, in another garage studio, new visions are taking shape. My nephew has started creating his own waste-based sculptures, much to everyone's amusement. But this time, no one's calling it garbage. After all, they know better now. Sometimes, the biggest changes start with the things we throw away. And as for me? I'm still collecting trash. And I wouldn't have it any other way. 10 years have passed since that climate summit. The waste art movement has exceeded our wildest expectations. Over 200 major cities have hosted our installations, and environmental behavior metrics show lasting changes in communities where our work appears. Public engagement with environmental issues has transformed, and policymakers report more public support for environmental legislation than ever before. My old garage in Los Angeles has been preserved as an innovation center, where artists come to learn about environmental art and develop their own approaches to activism through creativity. My parents lead tours there now, proudly explaining how their son's garbage collection revolutionized environmental education. The young artist who approached me at the summit? She's now one of our most influential collaborators, creating powerful installations about environmental justice in underserved communities. When I see her working with young activists, that same look of determination in her eyes that I had at her age, I know our legacy is in good hands. Last month, I received the highest honor of my career, not another art award or UNESCO recognition, but a letter from a small coastal community. It contained a piece of weathered plastic and these words: Mr. Reyes-chan, you helped us see what we had been blind to, that our waste tells the story of our relationship with Earth. This was the last piece of plastic we collected from our beach cleanup, inspired by your installation. Keep it, and remember that your work has created waves of change across the world. That piece of plastic now sits in a special place in our studio, alongside my first sketchbook. It reminds me that every great achievement starts with a simple belief, that art can make the invisible visible and the ignored impossible to overlook. To anyone reading this who's being told their methods are too unconventional, their medium too humble, or their vision too radical, remember my story. Remember that change needs all kinds of voices, all kinds of visions, all kinds of truth-telling. And sometimes, just sometimes, collecting garbage can change the world.
Jude's laughter echoed through the kitchen as I helped him build a tower of pancakes, each layer dripping with maple syrup. His small hands carefully placed blueberries in smiley face patterns, concentration etched on his features. These Saturday morning rituals had become our thing over the past 3 years, ever since my sister Ingrid had started her finding herself phase. I'm Noelle, and at 32, I'd somehow become the de facto mother to my 8-year-old nephew. Not that I'm complaining. Jude is the brightest light in my life. Aunt Noelle, can we make one for Mom too? Jude asked, his blue eyes, so much like Ingrid's, looking up at me hopefully. My heart clenched. Sure, buddy, but you know your mom's probably still sleeping. Yeah, she always sleeps late when she comes home late, he said matter-of-factly, reaching for another pancake. The casual way he accepted his mother's absence made my blood boil, but I kept my voice steady. Hey, how about we take these to the living room and watch some cartoons? As Jude settled on the couch, syrupy plate balanced carefully on his lap, my phone buzzed. Another text from Ingrid. Thanks, sis. You're the best. Had the most amazing night. Might stay at John's for brunch. Kiss Jude for me. I typed back a quick, okay, and slipped the phone into my pocket. The familiar mix of anger and resignation settled in my stomach like lead. Aunt Noelle? Jude's voice pulled me from my thoughts. Will you help me with my science project later? It's due Monday. Of course, what's it about? We have to make a family tree, he said, pushing his empty plate aside. Ms. Thompson says we need pictures too. I froze. That sounds fun. Let me grab the old photo albums from the study. In the study, I pulled out the heavy albums from the bottom shelf. A manila envelope fell out, spilling papers across the floor. As I gathered them up, a bank statement caught my eye. It was addressed to Ingrid, but something about the numbers made me pause. Aunt Noelle, Jude called from the living room. Can we use the picture from the beach last summer? Coming! I stuffed the papers back into the envelope, but not before noticing the child support payment amounts. Numbers that didn't add up to Jude's basic needs, let alone the designer clothes and exotic vacations that seemed to fill Ingrid's social media. We spent the afternoon creating Jude's family tree, carefully gluing photos onto colorful construction paper. Each picture told a story. Holidays, birthdays, first days of school. In almost every recent one, I was there instead of Ingrid. This is my favorite, Jude said, pointing to a photo from last Christmas. In it, he sat between Ingrid and me, his smile bright, but his body leaning slightly toward my side. I remembered that day clearly. Ingrid had shown up 3 hours late to our family dinner, full of excuses about traffic. The doorbell rang, startling us both. My friend Van stood on the porch, holding a pizza box. Thought you two might be hungry, he said with a grin. Van! Jude launched himself at my friend's legs. We're making a family tree. That's awesome, buddy. Mind if I take a look? As Jude proudly showed Van his project, I slipped back to the study and retrieved the envelope. Something wasn't right, and I needed to know what. Hey, Van, I called out. Could you stay with Jude for a few minutes? I need to make a quick phone call. Van's expression turned serious as he caught my tone. Sure, no problem. Hey, Jude, want to see if we can build a pizza tower? In my bedroom, I spread the papers across my bed. Bank statements, receipts, legal documents, all telling a story that made my hands shake with rage. The child support payments from Jude's father, the ones meant for his education and care, had been funding Ingrid's partying lifestyle for months. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Ingrid. Having the best time. Might head to Miami next weekend with John. You'll watch Jude, right? You're so much better at the mom stuff anyway. I stared at the message, then at the papers scattered across my bed. The sound of Jude's laughter drifted up from downstairs, mixed with Van's playful voice. In that moment, something inside me hardened into resolve. You're right about one thing, sis, I whispered to the empty room. I am better at the mom stuff, and it's time I did something about it. After tucking Jude into bed that night, I spread the documents across my kitchen table. Van sat across from me, his lawyer brain already in high gear as he shuffled through the papers. This is bad, Noelle. Really bad, he said, tapping a highlighted section. These transfers to her personal account, they're systematic. Every time the child support comes in, she moves it straight to her travel fund. I gripped my coffee mug tighter. How long has this been going on? Based on these statements, at least 8 months. Van ran a hand through his hair. And these credit card bills in Jude's name? That's fraud. In his name? My voice cracked. She opened credit cards in his name? 2 of them, both maxed out. He pushed the statements toward me. Look at the charges. Hotels in Vegas, flights to Cancun, designer shopping sprees. My phone lit up with a notification. Ingrid had just posted on Instagram, another glamorous photo at some rooftop bar, cocktail in hand, caption reading, "Living my best life. Deister blessed, Messer no regrets." I'm going to be sick, I muttered, pushing away from the table. Van caught my arm. Wait, before you do anything rash, we need a plan. You want custody of Jude, right? More than anything. Then we need to be smart about this. I know a family law attorney, Anton. He's tough, but he's good. Let me make a call. While Van stepped outside to make his call, I opened my laptop and started digging deeper. Ingrid's social media was a goldmine of evidence. Time-stamped photos showing her partying while Jude was sick, check-ins at expensive restaurants on days she claimed she couldn't afford his school supplies. "Got you," I whispered, downloading everything. Van came back in, already typing on his phone. "Anton can see us tomorrow at 9, but Noelle, there's something else you should see." He pulled up a video on his phone. It was shaky footage from someone's Instagram story, showing Ingrid at what looked like a yacht party. She was laughing, drink in hand, as she talked to someone off camera. "Just send the kid to my sister," Ingrid's voice came through clearly. "She's so desperate to play mommy it's pathetic. Meanwhile, I'm living it up on his dad's dime." The phone slipped from my trembling hands, clattering onto the table. "When was this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. 3 days ago. Miami." Van's expression was grim. "One of my paralegal friends follows someone who was there. She recognized Ingrid from your photos and sent this to me." A small noise from the doorway made us both turn. Jude stood there in his dinosaur pajamas, clutching his stuffed tiger. "I had a bad dream," he said softly. I was across the room in seconds, scooping him up. "It's okay, baby. I've got you." Over Jude's shoulder, I met Van's eyes. He nodded, already gathering the documents into a folder. "Want me to make you some hot chocolate?" I asked Jude, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. "With marshmallows?" "Extra marshmallows." As I heated the milk, Van quietly packed up, pausing at the door. 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll pick you up at 8:30. After Jude fell asleep again, this time in my bed, I sat in the dim light of my laptop, creating folders of evidence, bank statements, social media posts, text messages where Ingrid casually dumped her responsibilities on me while bragging about her latest adventures. My phone buzzed with a text from Tamara. "Girl, you won't believe who I just saw at the Grove. Your sister shopping up a storm with some new guy. Definitely not John. Want me to keep an eye on her?" I typed back quickly, "Yes, document everything." Another notification popped up. Ingrid had tagged herself at a new club downtown. The caption read, "Thursday's the new Friday. Who needs responsibility when you're having this much fun?" I clicked on the location tag and felt my blood run cold. In the background of one photo, barely visible but unmistakable, was a document that looked exactly like Jude's medical insurance card, the one I'd been asking her to send me for weeks, the one she claimed she couldn't find. "Got you again, sis," I muttered, saving the photo. Jude stirred in his sleep, and I gently brushed his hair back from his forehead. 3 years I'd been picking up Ingrid's slack, making excuses for her absence, trying to protect him from the truth about his mother. But now, watching him sleep peacefully, trusting that I'd keep him safe, I knew it was time to stop protecting Ingrid and start protecting him instead. Tomorrow's meeting with Anton couldn't come soon enough. The evidence was mounting, and my patience had run out. Ingrid wanted to play games with her son's future? Fine. But she was about to learn that some games have consequences. Anton's office smelled of leather and coffee. He flipped through our evidence folder with methodical precision, while Van and I sat across from his imposing desk. "This is compelling," Anton said, pausing at the yacht party video. "But we need to be strategic. Have you confronted your sister about any of this?" "Not yet," I replied. "I wanted to get legal advice first." "Smart." He leaned forward. "Here's what we're going to do. Set up a casual meeting with Ingrid. Feel her out, but don't show your cards. Record everything. Check if your state allows one-party recording first, Van?" Van nodded. "Already checked. We're good." My phone buzzed. "Speak of the devil." "Hey, sis!" Ingrid's voice chirped through the speaker. "Lunch today? I have the most amazing news." I met Anton's eyes. He nodded encouragingly. "Sure," I said, keeping my voice light. "The usual place at 1? "Perfect! You're the best!" The cafe was busy when I arrived. Ingrid was already there, wearing designer sunglasses and typing furiously on her phone. My recording app was running in my pocket as I sat down. "Noelle!" she squealed, air-kissing my cheek. "You won't believe it. John's taking me to Paris next month. Isn't that incredible?" "Paris?" I stirred my coffee slowly. "What about Jude's school play? He's got the lead role. Ingrid waved dismissively. Oh, you can record it for me. He understands. Mommy needs her me time. Like Miami last weekend? The words slipped out before I could stop them. She paused, sunglasses sliding down slightly. How did you know about Miami? Instagram, I said smoothly. Looked like fun. Oh, it was amazing. The yacht parties, the shopping. She leaned forward conspiratorially. Actually, I need a tiny favor. Could you cover Jude's school fees this month? The Paris trip was a bit more expensive than I expected. My hand tightened around my coffee cup. What about the child support payments? What about them? Shouldn't that cover his school fees? Ingrid's smile faltered for a split second. Oh, you know how it is. Everything's so expensive these days. But you're so good with money, and you love helping with Jude. Where exactly does the child support money go, Ingrid? The temperature between us dropped 10 degrees. Ingrid's perfectly manicured nails drummed on the table. Are you implying something? Her voice had lost its sugar coating. Just asking a simple question. I don't like your tone. She grabbed her designer bag. If you're going to be judgmental about how I manage my money, your money, it's Jude's money. She stood abruptly. I'm his mother. I decide what's best for him. When was the last time you actually made a decision about him, without pawning it off on me? You know what? Ingrid hissed, leaning close. You're just jealous. Jealous that I have a life while you're playing house with my kid. The cafe door chimed as she stormed out, leaving me with a half-empty coffee cup and a recording that would make Anton very happy. My phone buzzed immediately, a text from Tamara. You okay? Just saw Ingrid tear out of the cafe parking lot like a bat out of hell. Before I could respond, another message came through, this time from John, Ingrid's boyfriend. Hey, weird question, but did Ingrid ever give you Jude's social security card back? Can't find it in her files. My blood ran cold. I forwarded the message to Van and Anton immediately. Come to the office, Anton replied within seconds. We need to move faster than planned. As I drove to his office, my phone kept lighting up with notifications. Ingrid was on a posting spree, angry quotes about toxic family and jealous sisters flooding her Instagram story. Then came her message, hope you're happy. Since you're so concerned about my son, why don't you just take him? See how you like being a full-time mom with no help. Have fun giving up your whole life. I pulled over, hands shaking as I typed my response. Careful what you wish for, sis. At Anton's office, he was already pulling up additional documents. This is perfect, he said, reading through my recorded conversation. She practically admitted to misusing the support payments. And with John's text about the social security card. What do we do now? Now? Anton smiled grimly. Now we file for emergency custody. But first, call this number. He slid a business card across the desk. It's for a fraud investigator I work with. If Ingrid's been opening accounts in Jude's name, we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. I stared at the card, remembering Ingrid's parting shot about giving up my whole life. She's wrong, you know, Van said quietly. You're not giving up your life. You're fighting for it. Yours and Jude's. The fraud investigator's report landed in my inbox at 3 a.m., but I was already awake, sitting at my kitchen table with Tamara. Sleep had become a distant memory since the cafe confrontation 3 days ago. 3 credit cards, I read aloud, scrolling through the document. 2 personal loans, all in his name. How is this even possible? He's 8. Tamara reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Have you thought about how you're going to tell him? The question I'd been avoiding hit me like a punch to the gut. How do you tell a kid his mother's been stealing his identity? The same way you tell him everything else, with love and honesty. My phone lit up with a text from John. Heads up, Ingrid's on her way to your place. She's drunk and angry. Perfect, I muttered, showing Tamara the message. Just perfect. The doorbell rang moments later, followed by aggressive knocking. I opened the door to find Ingrid swaying slightly, mascara smeared under her eyes. Where's my son? She demanded, pushing past me. Sleeping, I said firmly. It's the middle of the night, Ingrid. I want to see him. She started toward the stairs, but Tamara blocked her path. Not like this, Tamara said. You're drunk. Oh, look who it is, the other wannabe mommy, Ingrid sneered. You two just love playing house with my kid, don't you? Someone has to be there for him, I shot back, while you're maxing out credit cards in his name. The color drained from Ingrid's face. You went through my things? No, a fraud investigator did. Want to explain the loans, Ingrid? The credit cards? Aunt Noelle? A small voice from the stairs made us all freeze. Jude stood there in his pajamas, clutching his tiger. Mom, what's happening? Baby! Ingrid lurched toward the stairs. Mommy's here to take you home. You're not taking him anywhere, I stepped between them. Tamara, can you take Jude back to bed? No, Ingrid grabbed my arm. You can't keep my son from me. Mom, you're scary. Jude's voice trembled. I want to stay with Aunt Noelle. The words seemed to hit Ingrid like a physical blow. She staggered back, bumping into the wall. You've turned him against me, she whispered. My own son. You did that yourself, I said quietly. Every time you chose partying over his school events. Every time you spent his future on designer bags and yacht parties. Aunt Noelle? Jude had moved closer, ignoring Tamara's gentle attempts to lead him upstairs. Is Mom okay? The concern in his voice, concern for the woman who'd betrayed him in ways he couldn't yet understand, broke something inside me. Your mom needs help, buddy, I said, kneeling to his level. And until she gets it, you're going to stay with me. Is that okay? He nodded, then looked at Ingrid. Mom, are you going to get help? Ingrid slid down the wall to sit on the floor, her designer dress crumpling around her. You don't understand, she sobbed. Any of you. I never wanted this responsibility. I never wanted... Me? Jude's voice was small. No, baby, that's not... Ingrid reached for him, but he stepped back, pressing against my side. I think you should leave, Tamara said firmly. Before you say something else you can't take back. Fine, Ingrid stumbled to her feet. Fine. Keep him. You've always wanted to replace me anyway. She yanked the door open, then turned back with a bitter laugh. You know what's funny? You'll see. You'll see how hard it is, giving up everything for someone else. Your freedom, your dreams, your life, it all goes away. And then you'll understand why I needed an escape. The door slammed behind her. In the sudden silence, I could hear Jude's quiet sniffles. Hey, I pulled him close. How about some hot chocolate? Later, after Jude had finally fallen asleep in my bed again, Tamara and I sat on my back porch, watching the sun rise. You're doing the right thing, she said softly. Am I? You heard her? I'm taking away his mother. No, you're protecting him from someone who's proven she'll hurt him. There's a difference. My phone buzzed with a text from Van. Just got a call from Anton. Emergency custody hearing set for next week. You ready? Before I could respond, another message came through. From John. Found something you need to see. Ingrid's been planning to take Jude out of the country. Passport application with forged signatures. Meeting tomorrow? I showed Tamara the message, my hands shaking. Still questioning if you're doing the right thing? She asked. I looked through my kitchen window, where I could see Jude sleeping peacefully, unaware of the storm gathering around him. No, I replied, not anymore. The coffee shop where I met John was quiet, tucked away from the usual morning rush. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes as he slid a manila envelope across the table. Found these in her desk drawer, he said. Passport application, fake school transfer papers, one-way tickets to Bali. My hands trembled as I opened the envelope. When was she planning this? Next month, right after Paris. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair. Look, I knew she was irresponsible. But this is criminal. Why are you helping me? I asked, studying his face. Because last night, she was drunk, talking about how she'd be free once she got Jude away from everyone. He leaned forward. She said she'd dump him with her friends in Bali while she found herself in Asia. My phone buzzed. A text from Ingrid. Missing my baby boy. Dinner tonight? Just the three of us? She's trying to act normal. I showed John the message. Like nothing happened. Don't let her near him. John stood up. I've got to go. She can't know I was here. But Noelle? Be careful. She's desperate. Back home, I found Van and Tamara in my kitchen with Anton, surrounded by papers. We've got the hearing moved up, Anton said without preamble. Tomorrow morning, Judge Rogers took one look at the fraud evidence and the passport application and cleared her schedule. That fast? Identity theft of a minor, attempted kidnapping. They take this seriously. He shuffled through some documents. But we need to prepare you for what's coming. Ingrid's hired counsel. Who? Marcus Thompson. He's known for aggressive tactics. He'll try to paint you as obsessed with replacing Ingrid, maybe even claim you manipulated evidence. The doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw Ingrid standing there, looking perfectly put together in a conservative dress. Right on cue, Van muttered. Remember, Anton whispered, don't engage. Don't let her in. Record everything. I opened the door slightly, keeping the chain on. Now's not a good time, Ingrid. I just want to see my son. Her voice was honey-sweet. I brought his favorite cookies. You mean the ones he's allergic to? Her smile faltered. What? No, he loves chocolate chip. He's allergic to chocolate, Ingrid. Has been since he was 5. You'd know that if you'd been to any of his doctor's appointments. Fine. Her voice hardened. I tried being nice. But you can't keep my son from me. I'm his mother. A mother who was planning to abandon him in Bali? She stepped back like I'd slapped her. Who told you? Her eyes narrowed. John. That bastard. Go home, Ingrid. We'll see you in court tomorrow. Tomorrow? For the first time, fear crept into her expression. What's tomorrow? Check with your lawyer. I started to close the door, but she jammed her foot in. You think you've won? She hissed. You think any judge will choose you over a child's real mother? I'll tell them how you've always been jealous of me, how you've tried to steal my son since day one. Aunt Noelle? Jude's voice came from behind me. Is that Mom? Ingrid's face transformed instantly. Baby, oh, I've missed you so much. Don't move, Jude, Van called out, his phone clearly recording. Stay where you are. Why can't I see him? Ingrid's voice rose hysterically. What lies have you been telling him? No lies, Jude said quietly. I saw the videos of you talking about using my money. The color drained from Ingrid's face. Baby, no, you don't understand. I understand that you hurt me, his voice wobbled. Miss Thompson at school says that's what identity theft means. You hurt my future. Ingrid stumbled back, her perfect facade cracking. This isn't over, she pointed at me. You'll regret turning him against me. As she stormed off, I closed the door and turned to find Jude crying silently. I pulled him into a hug. You were so brave, I whispered. Did you get all that? Anton asked Van, who nodded, stopping the recording. Perfect for tomorrow. Her threats, the attempted forced entry, the manipulation. Judge Rogers will love it. My phone lit up with rapid-fire texts from Ingrid. You've ruined everything. He'll hate you for this. I should have taken him away when I had the chance. I blocked her number and held Jude tighter. What happens now? He asked, his face buried in my shoulder. Now, I kissed the top of his head. We get ready for tomorrow, and then we start building a better future, together. Tamara brought over 2 cups of hot chocolate, both topped with whipped cream. And you're not doing it alone, she said firmly. Looking around my kitchen, at Van organizing documents, Anton making calls, Tamara comforting Jude, and the army of support we'd built, I finally felt ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The war wasn't over, but for the first time I knew we'd win. The courthouse hallway felt colder than it should for a summer morning. Jude sat between Tamara and Van on a wooden bench, his small legs swinging nervously while I paced. Stop wearing a path in the floor, Van said gently. You're making me dizzy. Where is she? I checked my phone again. The hearing starts in 10 minutes. As if on cue, the heavy doors burst open. Ingrid swept in wearing a conservative navy dress, her lawyer Marcus trailing behind her. She'd styled her hair to look exactly like mine. Copying my look won't help your case, I muttered as she passed. She paused, leaning close. No, but it'll help convince the judge how desperately you want to be me. All parties for the Blair custody hearing, a clerk called out. Inside the courtroom, everything happened fast. Anton presented our evidence methodically. Bank statements, credit card fraud documents, social media posts, the passport application, John's written testimony. Marcus stood up, straightening his tie. Your Honor, my client admits to some financial mismanagement, but these actions, while regrettable, don't negate her fundamental right as a mother. Ms. Noelle Blair has orchestrated a campaign to alienate a child from his mother. Objection, Anton interrupted. Counsel is making unsubstantiated claims. Sustained, Judge Rogers peered over her glasses. Mr. Thompson, do you have evidence of this alleged alienation? We have evidence of an unhealthy obsession. Marcus played a video on the courtroom screen. My heart sank as I recognized the footage. Every school event, every doctor's appointment, every parent-teacher conference I'd attended with Jude over the years. As you can see, Marcus continued, Ms. Noelle has inserted herself into every aspect of the child's life, systematically replacing my client. Because she wasn't there, Jude's voice rang out suddenly. Mom never came. Jude, honey, Ingrid started. No. He stood up, shaking. You promised to come to my play. You promised to be at my science fair. Aunt Noelle was there because you weren't. Order, Judge Rogers called softly. Young man, would you like to speak with me privately in my chambers? Jude nodded, squeezing my hand before following the judge. This is your fault, Ingrid hissed across the aisle. You've poisoned him against me. Ms. Blair, Judge Rogers warned as she returned. Control yourself or you'll be removed. The next hour was brutal. Marcus tried to paint me as an obsessed aunt trying to steal a child from his mother. Anton countered with evidence of Ingrid's neglect, the fraud, the attempted kidnapping plot. Then came the recordings. Just send the kid to my sister. I'm living it up on his dad's dime. Ingrid's voice filled the courtroom, followed by footage from my doorstep. You think you've won? You think any judge will choose you over a real mother? Your Honor, Marcus jumped up. These recordings were legally obtained in a one-party consent state, Anton finished. And there's more. He played Ingrid's social media videos, dozens of them, spanning months. Each showed her partying, traveling, shopping, all while Jude's education fund was drained and credit cards in his name maxed out. Enough, Judge Rogers held up her hand. I've seen sufficient evidence. After speaking with the minor child and reviewing all documentation, I'm prepared to make my ruling. My heart hammered as she continued. Ms. Ingrid Blair, your actions show a pattern of neglect, financial abuse, and attempted parental kidnapping. I'm granting full custody to Ms. Noelle Blair with supervised visitation for the mother pending completion of parenting classes and financial counseling. No! Ingrid shot to her feet. You can't do this. He's my son. Mom, please, Jude's voice quivered. Just get help. This isn't over. She grabbed her designer bag. I'll appeal. Ms. Blair, Judge Rogers' voice cut like steel. Any attempt to violate this order will result in criminal charges. Do you understand? Ingrid stormed out, Marcus hurrying after her. Outside the courthouse, Jude was quiet as we walked to the car. Ice cream? Van suggested. I think we all earned it. Can we go home instead? Jude asked softly. I just want to go home. Of course, buddy. As we drove, my phone lit up with messages from unknown numbers. Ingrid using her friends' phones to bypass the block. You'll regret this. Watch your back. This isn't the end. Van took my phone. I'll handle this. Anton's already drafting a restraining order. At home, Jude went straight to his room. I found him sitting on his bed, holding a family photo from before everything fell apart. Hey, I sat beside him. Want to talk about it? Did I do the right thing? He whispered. Telling the judge everything? You told the truth. That's always right. He leaned against me. She's still my mom. Yes, she is, and maybe someday she'll get the help she needs. But until then, you're safe. That's what matters. Promise you won't leave too? I pulled him close, feeling his tears soak into my shirt. Never. We're in this together, remember? Outside, I heard Tamara and Van in the kitchen, probably starting dinner. My phone was blessedly silent. For now, at least, we had peace. But something told me Ingrid wasn't done fighting yet. 3 weeks after the custody hearing, I was helping Jude with his homework when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Ingrid, sober, subdued, and dressed more simply than I'd seen her in years. "What do you want?" I asked through the door. "To talk. Please." Her voice lacked its usual sharp edge. "I'm not here to fight." I opened the door but blocked the entrance. 5 minutes. "I've been in therapy," she said quietly, "twice a week, and I joined a support group for gambling addiction." Gambling? That's where most of the money went, not just the parties and travel. I had debts. She wrapped her arms around herself. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I needed you to know I'm trying." Before I could respond, Jude appeared behind me. "Mom?" "Hi, baby," she said softly, but didn't move toward him. Progress, maybe. "Are you better now?" His voice was small but steady. "I'm working on it, really working on it this time." She pulled something from her purse, a folder. "This is for you, Noelle. The therapist helped me put it together. Inside were payment plans, credit repair documents, and a notarized letter accepting full responsibility for the fraudulent accounts in Jude's name. It's not enough," she continued. "I know that, but it's a start." "Mom?" Jude stepped forward. "Did you really hate being my mother?" Ingrid's composure cracked. "No, baby, I was sick. Selfish and sick. I didn't hate being your mother. I hated myself for failing at it." "You haven't earned this conversation yet," I said firmly. "Not until you've proven—" A car screeched to a halt in front of the house. John jumped out, running toward us. "She's not here for reconciliation," he panted. "She's creating an alibi." "What?" I turned back to Ingrid, who had gone pale. "John, don't— Tell them about Marcus," he demanded. "Tell them what you're really doing here." "Marcus?" I pushed Jude behind me. "Your lawyer?" "He's filing emergency appeals in 3 different jurisdictions," John explained. "While she's here making amends, he's trying to get the custody ruling overturned on technical grounds." "Is that true?" Jude's voice trembled. Ingrid's mask slipped. "You don't understand. None of you do. That judge had no right. To protect my future?" Jude stepped around me. "To stop you from stealing from me? I'm your mother." "No," he said quietly. "You're just someone who gave birth to me. Aunt Noelle is my mother." The words hung in the air like thunder before a storm. "You did this!" Ingrid lunged at me. "You turned him against me." John caught her arms. "That's enough. This is exactly why you lost custody." "Get out," I said coldly. "And tell Marcus not to waste his time. We'll fight every appeal." "You can't keep my son forever," she spat. "One day he'll see through you." "No, Mom." Jude's voice was stronger now. "One day you'll see what you threw away." As John led her away, she turned back one last time. "You think you've won? You think this is over? Chaos always comes back around, sister dear. Always." "You're right," I called after her. "Chaos does come back, but some of us learn to flourish in it. While others?" I looked pointedly at her designer bag, now stuffed with legal papers instead of stolen money. Others just keep drowning. Inside, Jude sat at the homework-covered table, staring at his math problems. "Did you mean it?" I asked softly. "What you said about me being— my mother?" He looked up, eyes wet but determined. "You pack my lunch every day. You help me with homework. You come to every school thing. You protect me." He took a shaky breath. "That's what mothers do, right?" I pulled him into a hug, feeling his tears soak into my shirt. "Can we call Van and Tamara?" he asked. "I don't want to do math right now." "Already here, kiddo." Van's voice came from the doorway. He and Tamara must have arrived during the confrontation. "And we brought pizza." "And ice cream," Tamara added, holding up a bag. "Some situations demand both." Later, after Jude had fallen asleep on the couch during our impromptu movie night, Van showed me his phone. "Marcus filed the appeals," he said quietly. "But don't worry, they're weak, desperate. Like Ingrid," Tamara added. I looked at Jude, peaceful in sleep, then at my friends, my real family, gathered in my living room. "Let her try," I said. "Some things are worth fighting for, and some battles." I tucked a blanket around Jude. Some battles you keep fighting until there's nothing left to fight about. Speaking of fighting, Van smiled. Wait until you see what Anton found in Ingrid's financial records. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. For the first time in weeks, I felt truly confident. Ingrid was right about chaos coming back around. But she'd forgotten one thing. I'd learned to thrive in it, while she was still trying to run from it. The morning sun streamed through Anton's office windows as he spread the documents across his desk. The fraud investigation uncovered something interesting. Ingrid wasn't just stealing from Jude. What do you mean? I leaned forward. She was running a small-scale Ponzi scheme through her social media, convincing her followers to invest in fake luxury vacation packages. He tapped a series of bank statements. The FBI is very interested. My phone buzzed. Tamara. Turn on the news. Now. Anton flipped on his office TV. There was Ingrid being led out of her apartment in handcuffs, her perfect image finally crumbling. The headline scrolled, Social media influencer arrested in investment fraud scheme. She wasn't just stealing from Jude, Van said from the doorway. She was stealing from everyone. My phone rang. It was Jude's school. Ms. Blair, Ingrid's here trying to remove Jude from class. We've called the police, but I'm on my way. At the school, I found Ingrid in the principal's office, still in her designer clothes from the arrest footage, looking wild-eyed and desperate. You can't take him, I said from the doorway. He's all I have left, she whirled on me. They're taking everything, my accounts, my passport, my reputation. I won't let them take him too. You took him from yourself, I replied quietly. Every time you chose everything else over him. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Mom? Jude stood in the doorway, Van right behind him. What are you doing? We're leaving, she reached for him. Just you and me, baby, like it should have been. No, his voice was firm. I'm staying with Aunt Noelle. You don't mean that, she pleaded. I'm your mother. A mother wouldn't steal my future, he said. A mother wouldn't try to kidnap me. A mother would protect me, like Aunt Noelle does. The police burst in, but Ingrid barely seemed to notice as they cuffed her. I did it all for you, she cried. Everything was for you. No, Jude's voice cracked. Everything was for you. It was always for you. As they led her away, she locked eyes with me. You think this is your happy ending? You think you've won? This isn't about winning, I said. It's about protecting him, something you never understood. That evening, our house was full of people. Van, Tamara, even Anton came by. Jude sat at the kitchen counter, pushing pasta around his plate. Hey, I sat beside him. Want to talk about it? Is she going to jail? Probably, but that's not your fault. None of this is your fault. He nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? Anything. Can I call you Mom? His voice was barely a whisper. Not because she's going away, but because you're the one who acts like one. The room went quiet. I pulled him into a hug, feeling tears stream down my face. I'd be honored, I managed. Group hug, Tamara announced, wrapping her arms around us both. Van and Anton joined in, making Jude laugh for the first time that day. Later, after everyone had gone home and Jude was in bed, I found a drawing on the kitchen counter. It showed two figures, one tall, one small, surrounded by hearts. At the bottom, in his careful handwriting, to Mom, Aunt Noelle, love Jude. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, Ingrid, somehow still reaching out. You may have won this round, but karma comes for everyone. I smiled, thinking of her words from what felt like a lifetime ago about chaos coming back around. She was right about karma, but wrong about everything else. Sometimes karma looks like justice. Sometimes it looks like a little boy finally finding his real home. I typed back one message before blocking the number. You're right. Karma does come for everyone. It came for you in handcuffs. It came for me in crayon drawings and bedtime stories. Guess we both got exactly what we deserved. Looking around my kitchen, at the homework spread across the table, the artwork on the fridge, the photos of Jude and me with our chosen family, I finally felt complete. The chaos had come full circle, but instead of drowning in it, We'd built something beautiful from its ashes. "Mom?" Jude called from upstairs. "Can you check for monsters?" "Coming, buddy." I headed up the stairs, each step feeling like coming home. Some battles end with handcuffs and sirens, others end with crayon drawings and monster checks. But the best endings? They're not really endings at all. They're just better beginnings in disguise.
The call came at 3 a.m., jolting me from a fitful sleep. My sister's sobs crackled through the speaker, nearly unintelligible. "Ren, everything's falling apart. The wedding. I need you." I'm Ren, and the last time I heard my sister Kylie cry like this was 3 years ago, the night I walked away from our family, the night I refused to help our mother destroy another wedding. "Slow down, Kai. What happened?" I pressed my phone closer to my ear, already knowing I'd regret asking. "The venue double-booked, the florist quit, and half the guests are arriving a week early because someone sent out the wrong date." Her voice cracked. "Mum's having a meltdown, and Sawyer's family is threatening to call it off." Of course Mother was having a meltdown. Perfection was her brand, and this wedding was supposed to be her crowning achievement. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd tried to sabotage our cousin Jasmine's wedding through me, and now Karma was serving up her own daughter's special day on a platter of chaos. "Please," Kylie whispered. "I know we haven't talked, but you're the only one who can fix this. You're the best wedding planner in the city." I sat up, switching on my bedside lamp. The framed photo of Jasmine's wedding caught my eye, the one wedding Mother couldn't ruin thanks to my refusal to play along. It had cost me everything, my family, my inheritance, my home. But it had given me something better, my integrity and eventually my success. "Kylie, does Mother know you're calling me?" A pause. "She's the one who suggested it." I laughed, the sound harsh in the quiet room. "Wow, she must be desperate." "We all are. Please, Ren. I'm getting married in 10 days. I closed my eyes, remembering the day Mother had called me into her study. The heavy oak desk, the family photos arranged just so, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the polished wood as she outlined her plan to ruin Jasmine's wedding. "She's marrying beneath us," Mother had said. "It's your duty to help me stop this embarrassment." I'd walked out that night with nothing but my car keys and the clothes on my back. Lily, my best friend, had taken me in, helped me build my wedding planning business from scratch. Now, 3 years later, I had a waiting list 6 months long and a reputation for turning disaster into perfection. "Ren?" Kylie's voice pulled me back. "Are you still there?" I reached for my laptop. "Text me the details. All of them. I'll be there tomorrow morning." "Really?" The hope in her voice made my chest ache. "But what about—" "I'm not doing this for Mother," I cut in. "I'm doing it for you. And Kylie, tell her to stay out of my way." After hanging up, I called Lily. She answered on the first ring because that's who she is, my rock, my voice of reason, my partner in creating perfect weddings. "You're not going to believe this," I started. "Try me." I could hear her shuffling papers, probably already at the office despite the ungodly hour. As I explained the situation, Lily's silence grew heavier. "You know this is a trap, right?" she finally said. "Your mother doesn't just suddenly forgive and forget." "Oh, I know." I pulled up my calendar, already rearranging appointments. But this time, I'm not the desperate 25-year-old she can manipulate. This time, I'm the professional she needs. "And you're not planning any payback?" I thought about Mother's face when she told me I was dead to her. About the Christmas cards returned unopened, the blocked phone numbers, the carefully crafted rumors about my unstable behavior that had nearly tanked my business before it started. "Revenge isn't my style," I said, but we both heard the smile in my voice. "I'm just going to do what I do best, create the perfect wedding. And if Mother happens to learn some lessons about karma along the way, well, that's just an unfortunate coincidence." Lily laughed. "Want me to clear my schedule too?" "Please. Something tells me we're going to need all hands on deck for this one." I glanced at the clock. 3:47 a.m. In a few hours, I'd be walking back into my childhood home, facing the woman who'd tried to destroy me, all while planning my baby sister's wedding. Send me the address, Lily said. I'll bring coffee. As I hung up, my phone buzzed with Kylie's text. A novel of wedding details, each one worse than the last. I started making lists, my mind already solving problems, creating contingencies. Mother wanted my help? Fine. She was about to learn exactly what I was capable of. And this time, I'd be playing by my own rules. The familiar iron gates of my childhood home loomed before me, just as imposing as I remembered. Lily pulled up behind my car, 2 coffee cups balanced precariously in her hands as she approached. "Ready for this?" she asked, handing me one. Before I could answer, the front door burst open. Kylie flew down the steps, her designer pajamas wrinkled, her eyes red from crying. She stopped short of hugging me, uncertainty written across her face. "You came," she whispered. "I said I would." I gestured to Lily. "This is my assistant and best friend. She's the real miracle worker." The moment shattered as Mother's voice cut through the morning air. "Well, if it isn't the prodigal daughter." She stood in the doorway, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. "I trust you've brought some solutions rather than more problems." "Nice to see you too, Mother." I strode past her into the house, Lily close behind. "Where's your office? We need to assess the damage." The house hadn't changed, still a museum of carefully curated family photos, though I noticed mine had all disappeared. Mother led us to her study, where papers covered her usually pristine desk. "The venue called last night," she said, her voice clipped. "They're claiming we confirmed for the 17th, not the 24th. I picked up the contract, scanning quickly. "Because you did. Look at the signature date." "Impossible. I would never—" "You signed this on March 3rd, the day of your charity luncheon." I pulled out my phone, showing her the social media post. "You were distracted, happens to the best of us." Mother's face tightened. "Fix it." "I already have." I pulled up my emails. "I called in a favour. The Rosewood Gardens had a cancellation. It's actually an upgrade. Better views, better layout, and they can accommodate us next weekend." "The Rosewood?" Kylie gasped. "But that's impossible to book. The owner's daughter was my first client." I didn't mention that I'd gotten that client specifically because Mother had blacklisted me from all the usual venues. "Now, about the florist?" "She's being completely unreasonable," Mother huffed, "demanding full payment up front." "Because you threatened to sue her over the colour of the peonies being slightly off," Lily cut in, reading from her tablet. "I have the email chain." I rubbed my temples. "Right. Lily, call Sophia at Bloom and Wild. Tell her we need the full package and I'll owe her one." "Already texted her. She's in." "The guests?" Kylie asked timidly. "I've booked blocks at 3 hotels," I said. "We'll need to arrange some activities for the early arrivals. Lily, can you—" "Already on it. Wine tour on Tuesday. Spa day Wednesday. Cooking class Thursday." Mother's lips pressed into a thin line. "You seem to have everything under control. I suppose I should be grateful." "No need for gratitude. I'm not doing this for you." I turned to Kylie. "Where's Sawyer? We need to go over the new timeline with both of you." "He's avoiding Mom," Kylie admitted. "After the florist incident, his parents suggested postponing." "No one is postponing anything," Mother snapped. "The grants may be new money, but they can't—" "Mother," I cut in sharply, "maybe take a break. Lily and I need to work." To my surprise, she left, though not without a pointed glare. As soon as the door closed, Kylie collapsed into a chair. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Everything was fine until last week, then it all just exploded." Something in her tone made me look up. "What do you mean, until last week?" "Well—" Kylie glanced at the door. "Mom got this weird call. I only heard part of it, but she was really upset. The next day, everything started going wrong." I shared a look with Lily. "Interesting timing." "There's something else," Kylie said, leaning forward. "I found this in Mom's trash." She pulled out a crumpled note. The handwriting was familiar. Too familiar. "Is that Ruby's handwriting?" I asked, remembering Mother's old friend who'd helped scheme against Jasmine's wedding. Kylie nodded. "It just says payment due and today's date." I pocketed the note, mind racing. "Kylie, I need you to tell me everything that happened after that phone call. Every detail. As she talked, pieces started falling into place. Mother's sudden desperation to hire me, the suspicious timing of the disasters. Ruby's note. Lily, I said quietly, add Ruby to your research list. Already on it, boss. I turned back to Kylie, who was watching me with worried eyes. Don't worry, your wedding will be perfect. How can you be so sure? I smiled, thinking of the note in my pocket. Because this time, I know exactly what game Mother's playing. And she's not the only one who knows how to play it. From somewhere in the house, I heard Mother's voice rising in another phone call. Whatever she was planning, whatever game she was playing, she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd invited me back into the house. Your mother hasn't changed a bit, Peter said, sliding a coffee across the cafe table to me. My cousin Jasmine's husband had agreed to meet me during his lunch break, and his insider perspective was exactly what I needed. Still the same dragon lady, I agreed. But something's different this time. She's scared. Peter leaned forward, lowering his voice. Ruby's been asking about you, you know. Coming around to family events, dropping your name into conversations. Ruby, I set my coffee down. The same Ruby who helped Mother try to ruin your wedding. The very same. He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of texts. She wanted to know if Jasmine and I were attending Kylie's wedding. Got really pushy about it. I scrolled through the messages, noting the desperate tone. When did these start? Last week. Right before everything went sideways with the wedding plans. Peter took his phone back. Jasmine thinks Ruby's in trouble. Financial trouble. My phone buzzed. Lily sending updates. The new venue contract was signed, the florist was on board, and the guest accommodation crisis was under control. But there was something else. A series of blocked calls to our office, all from the same number. Peter, what exactly did Mother promise Ruby 3 years ago? For helping with your wedding? He grimaced. Money, I think. A lot of it. Ruby's husband had just lost their savings in a bad investment. The pieces were clicking together. I pulled out Ruby's crumpled note from my pocket, comparing it to the texts on my phone. She's calling our office multiple times a day. Be careful, Wren. Peter's expression was serious. Ruby's desperate and your mother's cornered. That's a dangerous combination. My phone rang. Kylie's number. Hey, what's up? Can you come home? Now? Her voice was shaking. Mum's fighting with Sawyer's parents and I don't know what to do. I was already grabbing my coat. On my way? Don't let anyone leave. Peter stood too. Need backup? Always. Call Jasmine. Tell her to check Ruby's social media. Anything about money problems or sudden lifestyle changes in the past 3 years. The drive back was tense. Peter filled me in on family gossip, the whispered conversations, the suspicious timing of Mother's sudden social withdrawal last month. The way she'd been selling off her precious antiques quietly. We walked into chaos, voices echoed from the living room, Mother's sharp tones cutting through Sawyer's father's deeper rumble. Your son is making a mistake, Mother was saying as we entered. Kylie deserves a drama-free wedding, I interrupted, which is exactly what she's going to get. Mr. and Mrs. Grant, I apologize for the confusion. I've arranged for you to stay at the Four Seasons until the wedding. My treat. Mother's eyes flashed. Wren, you have no authority to... Actually, I do. I pulled out my tablet. Kylie hired me officially this morning. I have the signed contract right here. And as her wedding planner, I'm implementing a new policy. No family drama within 50 feet of the bride. Sawyer, who'd been silent in the corner, suddenly laughed. I like her, he told Kylie. Why didn't you tell me your sister was so badass? Because Mother told everyone I was unstable and unreliable, I said pleasantly. Now, shall we discuss the new venue? It's much more suitable for a Grant Dawson wedding. The meeting went smoothly after that. I walked the Grants through the changes, showed them photos of the Rosewood Gardens, and assured them their son's wedding would be the event of the season. By the time they left, even Mother had to admit things were under control. But as I packed up my tablet, I noticed her hands shaking slightly as she checked her phone. A text notification popped up, Ruby's name clearly visible. Everything okay, Mother? I asked innocently. You seem stressed. Mind your own business, she snapped, but there was fear behind the anger. My phone buzzed with a text from Lily. Ruby's house is in foreclosure. Notice posted last week. Another piece of the puzzle. I looked at Mother, remembering how she'd always said revenge was a dish best served cold. Well, I'd had 3 years to chill. You know, I said casually, I'm having dinner with Jasmine and Peter tonight. Ruby's name came up earlier. Interesting coincidence, don't you think? Mother's phone clattered to the floor. As she bent to retrieve it, I saw what I needed to see. Panic. Ren, Kylie called from the doorway, the cake designer's here for the tasting. Coming. I smiled at Mother. Don't worry. Everything's going exactly according to plan. I left her there staring at her phone and wondered how long it would take her to realize that this time it wasn't her plan that was unfolding. It was mine. The cake tasting was interrupted by my father's unexpected arrival. He stood in the doorway of the kitchen looking older than I remembered, his tie loose around his neck. Ren, he said softly. You look well. Before I could respond, Lily burst in. We have a situation. Sawyer's missing. What? Kylie dropped her fork, splattering raspberry filling across the counter. His parents can't reach him, and he's not answering his phone. Lily held up her tablet, but I tracked his last credit card purchase 20 minutes ago at Ruby's cafe. My father's head snapped up. Ruby, what does she have to do with this? Interesting that you ask, I said, studying his reaction. When did you last see Ruby, Dad? He tugged at his collar. I should find your mother. She's already looking for Sawyer, Lily cut in. Left 10 minutes ago. Seemed to know exactly where to go. I grabbed my car keys. Kylie, stay here with Dad. Lily, you're with me. The drive to Ruby's cafe was tense. Lily pulled up more information on her tablet. Ruby's house goes to auction next week. And get this, there's a series of transfers from your mother's account to Ruby's starting 3 years ago. Monthly payments that stopped last month. Blackmail, I muttered, pulling into the cafe parking lot. Ruby helped Mother try to ruin Jasmine's wedding, expecting a big payoff. When that failed, your mother had to keep paying to keep her quiet, Lily finished, until she couldn't anymore. We spotted Mother's car parked around back. Through the cafe window, I could see Sawyer sitting with Ruby, both looking intense. Mother stood nearby, her face pale. Call Peter, I told Lily. Tell him to bring those texts from Ruby, then start recording. The bell chimed as I entered. Ruby looked up, her composed expression slipping for just a second. Well, she said, the prodigal daughter arrives. We were just discussing family history. Were you telling Sawyer about how you and Mother tried to sabotage Jasmine's wedding? I pulled up a chair. Or about the blackmail payments that just stopped? Mother stepped forward. Ren, you don't understand. Actually, I do. I turned to Sawyer. They're trying to stop your wedding the same way they tried to stop Jasmine's. By digging up dirt, creating chaos, and hoping it all falls apart. That's not, Ruby started. The venue confusion. That was you, wasn't it? You still had Mother's planning documents from Jasmine's wedding, including her signature. Easy enough to forge a date change. Sawyer leaned forward. Is this true? The florist quit because someone sent her emails appearing to be from Mother, threatening legal action. I continued. The guest date mix-up? All traceable to an email account created last week. You can't prove any of this, Ruby said, but her voice shook. Actually, she can. Lily spoke from the doorway, holding up her tablet. I have the digital trail, and Peter's on his way with those threatening texts you sent him. Mother sank into a chair. I had no choice. She was going to tell everyone. That you tried to ruin Jasmine's wedding? That you disowned me for refusing to help? I laughed. Go ahead, Ruby, tell everyone. I'm not afraid of the truth anymore. The payments were supposed to continue, Ruby hissed at Mother. We had a deal. Until you ran out of money, I said to Mother. That's why you've been selling your antiques. Why you needed this wedding to be perfect, to maintain the illusion of control. Sawyer stood up. I've heard enough. I'm calling Kylie. Wait, Mother pleaded. Please, I was only trying to protect the family name. By destroying it? I shook my head. The only thing you protected was your own ego. Ruby's phone buzzed. Another foreclosure notice. As she reached for it, her hand trembling, I saw something else. a flash of a familiar signature on a document partially hidden under her purse. "What's that?" I pointed. She tried to snatch it away, but Sawyer was faster. His eyes widened as he read. "This is my father's signature on a loan document." The final piece clicked. That's why you targeted Sawyer's family specifically. You needed a new source of income. Mother's face crumpled. "I never meant—" "Save it." I stood up. "Lily, send copies of everything to my father and the grants. Ruby, I suggest you leave town before they decide to press charges." As Ruby fled and Mother sat there crying, Sawyer turned to me. "Thank you for uncovering all this." "Don't thank me yet," I said, checking my phone. "We still have a wedding to plan. That is, if you're still interested." He smiled, already dialing Kylie's number. "More than ever, but maybe with a few less family members on the guest list." I watched Mother's shoulders shake, feeling not triumph but a strange mix of pity and relief. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about revealing the truth and letting karma do the rest. "You should have seen her face," Jasmine said, helping me arrange flowers in the new venue. "Ruby showed up at her house this morning begging for money. Mom shut the door in her face." I adjusted a rose, thinking about Mother's silence since yesterday's confrontation at the cafe. She hadn't come home last night, and Dad was worried sick. "Remember when we were kids?" Jasmine continued. "How Mother used to parade us around at charity events, comparing us to each other?" "Jasmine got straight A's, why can't you?" I mimicked. "Ren won the piano competition, Jasmine. You should practice more." Always pitting us against each other. Jasmine shook her head. "And we fell for it every time." The venue doors burst open. Kylie rushed in, her face flushed. "Mom's in the hospital." My hands froze on the flowers. "What happened?" "Anxiety attack. Dad found her in her car outside Ruby's house. Kylie's voice cracked. "She had all these old photos of us, and letters she never sent you." Lily appeared with her tablet. "The grants are handling the Ruby situation. Apparently, she tried the same blackmail scheme with them this morning. They're pressing charges." I sat down heavily on a nearby chair. Did they know about Mother's involvement? "They suspected." Lily showed me some emails. "Sawyer's been investigating since last week. That's why he was meeting with Ruby yesterday, gathering evidence." "Smart man," Jasmine commented. "Kylie, you picked well." Kylie twisted her engagement ring. "He wants to postpone the wedding. Says I need time with my family to sort things out." "No," I said firmly. "Mother would love that. One last bit of control. This wedding happens in 4 days, exactly as planned. But Mom, we'll have to face the consequences of her actions." I stood up, decision made. "Lily, call the hospital. Tell them I'm coming to see my mother." The hospital room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors. Mother looked small in the bed, her perfect makeup gone, her hair limp against the pillow. "I wondered when you'd come," she said without opening her eyes. "Why did you do it?" I pulled up a chair. "All of it. Jasmine's wedding, the blackmail, trying to ruin Kylie's wedding." She turned to look at me, eyes red-rimmed. "I wanted the best for my girls, always the best." "No," I corrected. "You wanted control. There's a difference." "When did you get so wise?" A tear slid down her cheek. "I've made such a mess of everything." "Yes, you have." I took out my phone, showing her the wedding plans. "But Kylie's wedding is still happening. And you have a choice to make." "What choice?" "You can check yourself out, show up, and try to take control again. Or you can stay here, get help, and trust that your daughters know what they're doing." She was quiet for a long moment. "The Grants must hate me." "They're angry," I admitted. "But Sawyer loves Kylie, and right now, that's all that matters." "And you?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Do you hate me?" I thought about the past 3 years. The pain, the struggle, the triumph of building my own life. "No, but I don't trust you either. That has to be earned back." My phone buzzed. Lily sending updates about the wedding preparations. Mother watched me read them, a strange expression on her face. "You're good at this," she said. "Better than I ever was." "Because I care about making people happy, not controlling them." I stood up. "The wedding's in 4 days. If you want to attend, you'll need to apologize to everyone involved. No excuses, no manipulations, just the truth. And if I can't? Then you'll miss your daughter's wedding, your choice. As I reached the door, she called out, "The letters, the ones I never sent." Kylie told me. I paused. "Save them. When you're ready, really ready, we can talk about them." Back at the venue, I found Kylie and Sawyer dancing in the empty hall, practicing their first dance. Jasmine was filming them, while Lily directed the lighting tests. "How is she?" Kylie asked as I approached. "Getting what she needed all along, help." I watched Sawyer spin her gracefully. "You two ready for this?" They looked at each other, sharing a private smile. "More than ever," Sawyer said. "Nothing like a little family drama to make you sure about your choices." "Speaking of choices," Lily interrupted, "the minister needs to know if we're keeping the traditional vows or—" A text lit up my phone. A photo from Dad. Mother, sitting up in her hospital bed, writing what looked like letters. "The vows," I said, smiling at the photo, "should be about truth, forgiveness, and new beginnings. Because sometimes that's what karma looks like. Not just consequences, but chances to make things right." The morning of the wedding dawned clear and bright. I was already at the Rosewood Gardens by 6 a.m., directing the setup when my father's car pulled in. "She's here," he said quietly as he approached. "In the bridal suite. She wants to see Kylie." I checked my watch. "Is she ready to apologize?" "She spent all night practicing." He smiled weakly. He even wrote it down. "Lily," I called to my assistant, "take over here. I need to referee a mother-daughter reunion." The bridal suite was silent when I entered. Mother sat primly on the edge of a chair, a piece of paper trembling in her hands. She'd lost weight in the hospital, but her eyes were clearer than I'd seen them in years. "Kylie's on her way," I said. "Ground rules, no guilt trips, no manipulations, no drama. This is her day." "I know." Mother smoothed her paper. "I've been practicing with my therapist." A soft knock and Kylie entered in her robe, hair in curlers. She froze when she saw Mother. "Mom, should you be out of the hospital?" "I'm here on a day pass." Mother stood, then did something I'd never seen before. She sat on the floor at Kylie's feet. "I need to tell you something." I moved to leave, but Kylie grabbed my hand. "Stay, please." Mother unfolded her paper, then crumpled it up. "No, this needs to come from my heart." She took a deep breath. "I'm sorry. I've been a terrible mother. I tried to control everything, everyone, and I nearly ruined the most important day of your life." Kylie's grip on my hand tightened. "I was wrong," Mother continued, "about everything. About Sawyer, about the wedding, about how I treated Wren." She looked up at me. "Especially about how I treated Wren." "Mom," Kylie's voice wavered. "No, let me finish. I'm getting help now. Real help. And I promise if you'll let me stay for the wedding, I'll sit quietly and just be your mother. Not your wedding planner, not your social director, just your mom." The door opened again, Jasmine peeking in. "Sorry, but we need the bride. Hair and makeup are ready and—" "Oh." Mother stood slowly. "Jasmine, I owe you an apology too." "Save it for later," I interrupted, checking the time. "We have a schedule to keep. Mother, there's a seat in the back row." "No," Kylie said firmly. "Mom, I want you in the front row, where you belong. But only if you promise no interference. This is my day, my way." "I promise," Mother's voice cracked. "Thank you." The next few hours flew by in a whirlwind of activity. Lily coordinated the vendors while I helped Kylie dress. Mother kept her word, sitting quietly, only speaking when spoken to. Then, just as we were lining up for the ceremony, a commotion erupted at the entrance. "Ruby!" Lily hissed in my ear. "She's trying to get in. I've got this." I strode to the doors where security was already blocking Ruby's path. "You can't keep me out," Ruby was shouting. "I have information." "About what?" I asked coldly. "The blackmail scheme you're being charged for, or the forged documents the grant's lawyers found?" "Meredith," she pleaded, spotting Mother approaching behind me. Tell them about our deal." Mother stepped forward, and for a moment I tensed, ready for another disaster. But she surprised me. The only deal, Mother said clearly, is the one you'll make with the prosecutors. Go home, Ruby. It's over. As security escorted Ruby away, I heard the opening notes of the wedding march. Ready? I asked Mother. She straightened her shoulders. To sit quietly and watch my daughter be happy? Yes, I think I finally am. The ceremony was perfect. Kylie glowed as she walked down the aisle on Dad's arm. Sawyer's face lit up when he saw her. Their vows were personal and touching, without a hint of family drama. And Mother? She sat in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, not trying to control a single thing. At the reception, I was checking the dinner service when Sawyer's father approached. Quite a transformation, he said, nodding toward Mother, who was quietly watching Kylie and Sawyer's first dance. Your mother's apology this morning seemed genuine. It was. I adjusted a centerpiece. Sometimes people surprise you. Speaking of surprises, he handed me a business card. We're expanding our event planning division. Could use someone with your skills. I smiled, pocketing the card. Thank you, but I'm happy where I am. Besides, I glanced at Mother again. I think my family might need me around for a while. The music changed, and I watched as Sawyer led Kylie to where Mother sat. They exchanged words I couldn't hear. Then Kylie hugged her, real and genuine. Lily appeared at my elbow. Everything's perfect. You can relax now. Not quite yet. I picked up my champagne glass. But for the first time in years, I think we're getting there. The reception was in full swing when Lily grabbed my arm. We have a problem. There's a reporter from the society pages asking questions about Ruby. I set down my champagne. Where? By the gift table. Apparently Ruby called them with a shocking exposé about the Dawson Grant wedding. Before I could move, Mother appeared beside us. I'll handle this. Mom, no. Trust me, just this once. I followed her to where a young reporter was scribbling in a notebook. Mother straightened her spine, channeling every ounce of her social authority. I understand you're writing a story, she said smoothly. Let me give you a better one. The reporter looked up. Mrs. Dawson. Ruby said, Ruby Grant is currently under investigation for blackmail and fraud. Mother's voice was clear and steady. But here's your headline. Society maven admits past mistakes, celebrates daughter's joy. I'll give you an exclusive interview. My jaw dropped. The reporter's eyes widened. Mom, I whispered. Are you sure? She nodded. It's time for the truth. Turning back to the reporter, she continued. 3 years ago, I tried to sabotage another wedding. I let pride and control destroy my relationship with my eldest daughter. I paid someone to keep quiet about it, and now I'm facing the consequences and making amends. The reporter's pen flew across the page. That's quite a story. It's also a story about redemption, I added, placing a hand on Mother's arm. About choosing family over pride. A commotion near the entrance caught our attention. Ruby had returned, this time with a police escort. Mrs. Grant, one officer said loudly, you're in violation of the restraining order. The music screeched to a halt. Guests turned to stare. Kylie and Sawyer hurried over, but before anyone could speak, Mother stepped forward. Ruby, she said clearly, enough. We both know what we did was wrong. I'm facing my mistakes. It's time you faced yours. Ruby's face contorted. You promised me. You said if I helped you control your daughters. I was wrong. Mother's voice cracked. So wrong, and I'm sorry, but this ends now. As the officers led Ruby away, she shouted, You'll regret this, Meredith. I'll tell everyone. I already did, Mother called after her. She turned to the reporter. Make sure you get that part right. I told the truth before she could use it against me. Sawyer's father stepped forward, clapping slowly. Well done, Meredith. Better late than never. The music resumed. Guests returned to dancing. The reporter hurried off to file her story. And Mother started crying. I'm so sorry, she whispered, looking at me, for everything, for trying to control you, for not supporting you, for... I pulled her into a hug, surprising us both. I know, Mom. I know. Kylie joined our hug, then Dad, then Jasmine, Even Sawyer wrapped his long arms around our family group. "Well," Lily said, wiping her eyes, "this is definitely going in my best weddings ever list." The rest of the reception passed in a blur of dancing toasts and genuine laughter. During the father-daughter dance, I watched Dad twirl Kylie while Mother sat beside me. "You did an amazing job," she said softly. "With the wedding. With everything." "Thanks, Mom. I found your old business plan the other day. The one you showed me when you first wanted to be a wedding planner. I dismissed it completely." I remembered that day, her cutting words, her dismissal of my dreams. "You did." "I was wrong. You've built something beautiful." She hesitated. "Those letters I wrote, would you like to read them?" "Maybe. Not today, though. Today is for Kylie." Mother smiled. A real smile, not her society mask. "You're a better person than I ever was." "No," I corrected her. "I just learned from your mistakes. And my own." The music changed to a popular dance song. Kylie ran over, grabbing both our hands. "Come on, everyone on the dance floor." And there we were, Mother and I dancing with Kylie, laughing as Dad tried to do the Macarena, watching Sawyer spin Jasmine while his parents cheered. Lily appeared with her tablet. "The society pages just posted their article. Want to see?" The headline read, "Love Conquers All, a story of truth, redemption, and the wedding of the year." "Perfect," I said, watching Mother dance with Kylie. "Absolutely perfect." Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even or proving you're right. Sometimes it's about being there when someone finally admits they were wrong and helping them find their way back to what really matters. Family, truth, love, and maybe, just maybe, a perfectly planned wedding. The morning after the wedding, I found Mother sitting in her garden reading the Society Pages article on her tablet. The roses she'd always obsessed over were untended, wild and beautiful in their natural state. "Coffee?" I offered her a cup. "Thank you." She set the tablet down. "The article's gone viral. Ruby's been calling all morning." "Let her." I settled into the adjacent chair. The truth was going to come out eventually. "Your father's helping me pack for the rehabilitation centre." She traced the rim of her cup. 30 days of intensive therapy. I'll miss Kylie's honeymoon return. But you'll be here for everything else that comes after." A comfortable silence fell between us. The garden's morning shadows shifted as the sun rose higher, and somewhere a bird started singing. "I found this while packing," Mother said, pulling an envelope from her pocket. "Your first business card, the one you showed me when you announced you were becoming a wedding planner." I remembered designing it at Lily's kitchen table, full of hope and determination. Mother had torn it up in front of me. "I kept one," she admitted, "hidden in my jewellery box. Even when I was at my worst, trying to control everything, I kept it." The sound of car doors slamming interrupted us. Kylie and Sawyer emerged from their car, still in their travel clothes. "You haven't left for your honeymoon yet?" Mother asked as they approached. "Changed our plans," Kylie said, settling onto the garden bench. "We're postponing the Maldives trip." "Why?" I asked. Sawyer grinned. "Because we've got a better idea. Mum, how would you like some visitors at the rehabilitation centre?" Mother's hand trembled, spilling coffee. "What?" "We checked with the centre," Kylie explained. "They have family therapy sessions. We thought maybe we could all use some healing. Together." "All," Mother whispered. "All," I confirmed, surprising myself. "If you're willing to do the work, we're willing to be there." Tears spilled down Mother's cheeks. "After everything I did—" "Family is complicated," Sawyer said. "My parents taught me that, but it's worth fighting for." The garden gate creaked, and Jasmine walked in with Peter and Lily. "Hope we're not too early," Jasmine called. "We brought breakfast." "And paperwork," Lily added, waving a folder. "Ruby's lawyer called. She's agreeing to a full confession in exchange for leniency." Mother straightened. "Good. It's time we both faced consequences." "Speaking of consequences," I pulled out my own envelope. "I have something to show you, Mom." Inside was a business proposal. Plans for expanding my wedding planning business to include family counselling services for couples and their families. The Grants are still interested in investing, I explained. But I'd like to offer you first refusal. Not for the money, but for the chance to help other families avoid our mistakes. A partnership, Mother's voice wavered. Eventually, after rehabilitation, after we've all done some healing. I met her eyes. What do you say? She looked around the garden, at Kylie and Sawyer holding hands, at Jasmine setting out breakfast with Peter, at Lily organising papers, at me offering a chance for redemption. I say, she took a deep breath, I say I'd like to earn that opportunity. Dad appeared in the doorway. Car's packed, Meredith. Ready. Mother stood, smoothing her skirt. Will you all be here when I get back? We'll do you one better, Kylie said. We'll be there with you. Every step. As Dad helped Mother to the car, I felt Lily nudge me. Happy ending? I watched Mother pause at the car, looking back at her garden, at all of us gathered there, choosing to stay, choosing to heal. Not an ending, I corrected. A beginning. Mother waved once, then got in the car. As they drove away, Kylie linked her arm through mine. You know what this means? She asked. More weddings to plan, more families to help. More chances to get it right, Jasmine added. I looked at my family. The ones born to me and the ones I'd chosen, all gathered in the garden where I'd once felt so alone. Well then, I said, picking up Mother's abandoned tablet with its viral story of truth and redemption, we better get to work. Because sometimes the best stories don't end with revenge or perfect resolution. Sometimes they end with people choosing to try again, to do better, to heal together. And sometimes, just sometimes, they end in a garden, with breakfast and family and the promise of tomorrow. Pass the coffee, I said, pulling out my planner. We've got some planning to do.
Some photographs have the power to shatter your entire world. The one in my hands, torn precisely down the middle, with my father's image brutally excised, did exactly that. I'm Ella, and until 10 minutes ago, I thought I was just doing my mother a favor by organizing her dresser drawers while she recovered from minor surgery. Now, standing in her bedroom with trembling hands, I realize I've stumbled onto something far more sinister. What are you doing in here? Mother's voice cuts through the air like a whip. She's standing in the doorway, one hand gripping her walking cane, the other pressed against the doorframe. For someone who's supposed to be resting, she moves remarkably fast. I found this. I hold up the mutilated photograph. Care to explain why you're literally cutting Dad out of our family history? Her face hardens. Put that back where you found it. No, I want to know why. And where are all the other photos? The ones from my graduation, my 16th birthday, that summer in Maine. Those memories aren't relevant anymore. She limps into the room, her designer nightgown swishing against the hardwood floor. Your father isn't part of our lives now. We have Alan. We have Megan. We've moved forward. Moved forward? The words taste bitter in my mouth. You're trying to erase him, like he never existed. Don't be dramatic, Ella. It doesn't suit you. She reaches for the photograph, but I pull it away. Your father chose his path when he refused to adapt to our lifestyle. He couldn't handle success, couldn't handle moving up in the world. He was content being ordinary. Being honest, you mean? He didn't want to play social climbing games with Alan's crowd. Her laugh is sharp, dismissive. Is that what he told you? Your father was weak. He held us back. Alan gave us everything. This house, your education, the connections that got you your job at the tech company. Dad paid for my education, I snap. Every penny of it. Through the alimony you demanded. Something flickers across her face. Guilt, fear, it's gone before I can identify it. You're being ridiculous. Now give me that photograph and go home. Ryan must be wondering where you are. Ryan knows exactly where I am. And he knows what you're like. I carefully fold the photograph and slip it into my pocket. You know what's interesting, Mother? You're so focused on erasing Dad that you didn't notice what else was in that drawer. She freezes. What are you talking about? The bank statements. the ones showing where Dad's alimony payments really went. Not to my education, but to Alan's failing business ventures. I watched the colour drain from her face. Funny how that worked out, isn't it? You had no right to look at those documents. Her voice shakes with rage. Those are private matters between Alan and me. Private fraud, you mean? Because I'm pretty sure the court would be interested in knowing how you've been misappropriating those funds. She straightens, her chin lifting. Are you threatening me? I'm stating facts, just like you stated facts about Dad being ordinary and weak. The difference is, I have proof. Get out. She points toward the door with a trembling finger. Get out of my house right now, and don't come back until you've learned some respect. I walk past her, pausing in the doorway. You know what the real difference is between you and Dad. He never had to destroy someone else to feel worthy. As I drive home, the torn photograph burns in my pocket like a brand. My hands grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. I always knew my mother was capable of cruelty, but this systematic erasure of my father, this calculated destruction of his presence in our family history, it's different, it's war. And if she wants war, I'll give her one. Because some things are worth fighting for, and some betrayals can never be forgiven. The truth is, I'm my father's daughter, and like him, I know how to play the long game. The crystal wine glasses clink with artificial cheer as Alan raises his for yet another toast. Father's Day dinner at their mansion, a tradition Mother insists on maintaining, despite having effectively exiled my actual father from our lives. To family, Alan announces, his cultured voice carrying across the formal dining room. And to new beginnings, I catch Megan rolling her eyes across the table. At least my half-sister sees through this charade. Ryan squeezes my hand under the table, a silent anchor keeping me from drowning in the hypocrisy. Speaking of new beginnings, Mother says, dabbing her lips with a monogrammed napkin. Ella, darling, I heard through Caroline that the Peterson Group is looking for a project manager, much more suitable than your current position. I'm leading my own team at Oracle Tech, Mother. I don't need the Petersons' nepotism. Don't be naive. Connections are everything in this world. Look how well Alan's guidance helped you secure your current role. Ryan stiffens beside me. He'd recommended me for the position, not Alan. Before I can correct her, Mother continues. Besides, the Petersons' son Thomas is recently divorced. He always had a soft spot for you in high school. I'm engaged, I remind her, twisting the diamond ring on my finger. To Ryan, remember? Of course, dear, but engagements can be fluid. One should always keep their options open. The silence that follows is deafening. Ryan's fork scrapes against his plate with deliberate precision. Mother, Megan interjects, maybe we could talk about something else, like my study abroad plans. Ah, yes, Mother brightens immediately. Alan and I have been discussing your future. Cambridge would be perfect for you. We've already spoken to the dean. Cambridge? I set down my wine glass. That's expensive, even with Dad's alimony. Your father's contributions are irrelevant, Mother cuts in sharply. We have everything arranged. A sudden horrible suspicion takes root. With what money exactly? That's hardly dinner conversation, Alan interrupts smoothly. More wine, anyone? No. I push back my chair. I want to know, because Dad's been sending regular payments for my education fund. Where did that money go? Mother's face hardens. Ella, you're making a scene. Answer the question. Your education fund has been reallocated. Megan's future takes priority now. You're established, with a adequate career. Ryan stands abruptly. We should go. Sit down, Mother commands. Both of you. We haven't finished discussing your career options, Ella. The Petersons are irrelevant, I finish. Just like Dad's contributions were irrelevant, just like my future is irrelevant. You're being dramatic, again. Mother sighs theatrically. This is why we worry about you, dear. Such emotional instability. Perhaps you should consider therapy before making any permanent decisions about marriage. Ryan's chair scrapes back. Mrs. Harrison, with all due respect, That's quite enough, Alan interrupts. Ella, your mother only wants what's best for you. Sometimes that means making difficult decisions. Like stealing my education fund for Megan. The words explode out of me. Or using Dad's alimony to prop up your failing business ventures. The colour drains from Alan's face. Mother's wine glass trembles in her hand. How dare you, she whispers. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done to me, I correct her, and to Dad, and now to Megan. It never ends with you, does it? Megan looks between us, confusion clouding her features. What's she talking about, Mom? Nothing, darling. Your sister is just having one of her episodes. Episodes? I laugh bitterly. Is that what we're calling the truth now? I stand, pulling Ryan with me. Enjoy Cambridge, Megan. I hope it's worth the price. Ella, Mother calls as we reach the door. If you walk out now, don't expect to be welcome back. I turn, meeting her gaze. Don't worry, Mother. I wouldn't dream of interrupting your perfect new family again. But remember, karma has a way of balancing the books. As Ryan drives us home, the torn photograph in my pocket seems to burn with new intensity. Mother thinks she's won, that she's successfully erased Dad and replaced him with her gilded new life. She has no idea what's coming, because now I have proof of her financial manipulation, and more importantly, I have nothing left to lose. The game is just beginning. The financial records spread across my kitchen table tell a story of systematic betrayal. Each bank statement, each transfer notification, each carefully hidden transaction forms another piece of the puzzle I've spent weeks assembling. Ryan enters, setting down 2 cups of coffee. You need to see this, I tell him, pushing forward a particular document. Look at the dates. He studies the paper, his jaw tightening. The same day your dad made his alimony payment. Every month for the past 3 years, Mother transferred the exact amount to Alan's business account within hours of receiving it. My fingers trace the numbers. Dad's been working double shifts to make these payments, thinking they were for my education fund. Have you told him? The question hangs heavy in the air. How do you tell someone their ex-wife has been stealing from them for years? My phone buzzes. A text from Megan. Mum's freaking out, says you've been accessing private accounts. What's going on? Before I can respond, Mother's name flashes on my screen. I let it ring. You'll have to face her eventually, Ryan says. I know, but first I need to talk to Dad. Dad's apartment building hasn't changed since the divorce. Same cracked steps, same flickering hallway lights. He opens the door, wearing his mechanic's uniform, grease still under his fingernails. Ella, everything okay, sweetheart? I hold up the folder of documents. We need to talk. His face falls as I lay out the evidence. Each revelation hits him like a physical blow. The diverted payments, Alan's failing business, Mother's elaborate web of lies. I should have known, he says finally, his voice hollow. When Laura started demanding more alimony, claiming it was for your future, he rubs his face. I was so focused on making sure you had opportunities, I didn't question it. Dad, this isn't your fault. Isn't it? I knew what your mother was like, how she'd do anything to maintain her lifestyle. He picks up one of the bank statements. Does Alan know? He's complicit. They've been working together to... My phone interrupts, Mother's name appearing again. This time I answer. How dare you? Her voice trembles with rage. Breaking into private accounts, spreading lies about your family. They're not lies if I have proof. Proof? You have nothing but misinterpreted documents and your own bitter imagination. If you continue with these ridiculous accusations, you'll what? Cut me off? Steal more money? Try to sabotage my relationship again? I'm trying to protect you, she hisses. You have no idea what you're doing. If you pursue this, there will be consequences. For everyone. Dad gently takes the phone. Hello, Laura. His voice is steady, controlled. I think it's time we had a conversation about fraud. The silence on the other end is deafening. I've worked every available shift for 3 years to provide for our daughter's future, he continues. If you think I won't pursue legal action... Frank, she cuts in, her tone suddenly honeyed. Surely we can discuss this reasonably. like adults, without involving lawyers or making hasty decisions. The time for discussion was before you started stealing from our daughter. Stealing. I was investing in our family's future. Alan's business ventures are failing, I interrupt, leaning toward the phone. Just like everything else built on lies. You ungrateful child. After everything we've done for you, save it, Dad says. Expect to hear from my lawyer. As he ends the call, my phone immediately lights up with texts from Megan. Mom's hysterical. Alan's threatening to sue. What did you do? I show Dad the messages. This is just the beginning, isn't it? He nods grimly. Your mother won't go down without a fight. Are you sure you want to do this? I think of the torn photograph, still in my pocket, of years of manipulation and lies, of Dad working himself to exhaustion while Mother and Alan lived in luxury. Some things are worth fighting for, I tell him, echoing his words from years ago. And some people need to learn that actions have consequences. My phone buzzes again, an email from Mother's lawyer. The war has officially begun, but this time, I'm ready for battle. The lawyer's office feels too small for the weight of what I'm about to learn. Dad sits beside me, his weathered hands clasped tightly in his lap, while his attorney, Marcus Chen, reviews the documents we've gathered. This goes beyond simple misappropriation, Marcus says, spreading out the financial records. They've been systematically... A knock interrupts us. His secretary peers in. Sorry, but there's an urgent call from the Harrison residence. Mrs. Harrison insists it's an emergency. I share a look with Dad. Put it through. Megan's voice fills the room, breathless and panicked. Ella, you need to come home right now. Mom's selling everything. Your old stuff, the family albums, everything from before Alan. She says if you want to play hardball, she'll make sure there's nothing left of your past to fight for. My throat tightens. What do you mean, selling? There's an estate sale company here. They're pricing Frank's, old desk, your childhood books, even Mom's wedding ring from him. She says it's all just worthless baggage now. Marcus raises an eyebrow, making notes. Dad's knuckles whiten. Try to stall them, I tell Megan. I'm on my way. There's more, she adds, voice dropping. I overheard Mum on the phone with Cambridge. She's using your old college fund, what's left of it, as a deposit for my tuition. She says it's only fair since you're trying to destroy the family. The familiar gates of the Harrison estate mock me as I pull up 30 minutes later. The circular driveway is lined with expensive cars, vultures disguised as antique dealers, picking through the bones of my childhood. Mother stands in the foyer, directing workers with regal efficiency. Her face hardens when she sees me. Come to survey the damage. She gestures to a pile of tagged items. Amazing how much worthless junk one accumulates over the years. I spot Dad's desk among the items, the one he built by hand for my 13th birthday. The price tag reads $50. This isn't about the money anymore, is it? I ask quietly. Oh, but it is. You want to talk about stolen funds? Let's discuss how much your father's inadequacies cost this family. Years of living below our potential, of making do with less than we deserved. We were happy. You were ignorant. She picks up a photo album, carelessly flipping pages. Look at these. Camping trips in a borrowed tent. Birthday parties at fast food restaurants. Is that what you're fighting so hard to preserve? Those memories are real, unlike everything you've built here. Real doesn't pay for Cambridge, she snaps. Real doesn't secure Megan's future. I learned that lesson with you. Sentiment is worthless in this world. A worker approaches with Dad's desk. Where do you want this, Mrs. Harrison? The dumpster will do. Stop. My voice shakes. That desk isn't yours to sell. Everything here belongs to me now. Alan made sure of that in the divorce settlement. Her smile turns cruel. Speaking of Alan, he's fascinated by your little investigation, especially the part where you accessed private company records. His lawyers are quite interested in pursuing corporate espionage charges. The threat lands like a physical blow. My job, my future with Ryan, everything I've worked for. She'd destroy it all to maintain control. Megan appears at the top of the stairs, her face pale. "Mum, please. This is going too far." "Stay out of this, darling. Your sister needs to learn that actions have consequences." I look around at the dismantled pieces of my past, the books Dad read to me, the photos of happier times, the handmade furniture that represented his love, all reduced to price tags and profit margins. "You're right," I say finally. "Actions do have consequences, and you've just shown me exactly what needs to be done." I pull out my phone, dialing Marcus's number. Proceed with everything we discussed, all of it. Mother's smile falters. "What are you doing?" "Teaching you about consequences." I meet her gaze steadily. "You wanted a war? Congratulations. You've got one." As I walk out, Megan calls after me. I turn to see her holding Dad's desk. "I'll keep it safe," she promises. For the first time, I see something of myself in my half-sister, a reflection of the same pain, the same determination to survive our mother's machinations. The game has changed. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about justice. Marcus's words hit like hammer blows in the conference room. They filed a restraining order. You can't go within 500 feet of the Harrison estate or contact Laura directly. On what grounds? Harassment, emotional distress, potential corporate espionage. He adjusts his glasses. Alan's lawyers are aggressive. They're also freezing any remaining joint accounts and assets pending investigation. Ryan squeezes my hand under the table. Can they do that? They can try. Marcus shuffles through papers. But that's not the worst part. They're claiming Frank's alimony payments were voluntary gifts, not court-ordered support. If it sticks, my phone buzzes. Megan, Mom's having movers pack up your remaining things. Says you have an hour to collect them or they're going to charity. I stand abruptly. This is exactly what she wants. To force my hand, make me violate the order. Don't give her the satisfaction, Dad says quietly. Another text from Megan. She's throwing out your graduation photos. Ryan catches my arm. I'll go. The order doesn't apply to me. No. I pull away. This ends now. The drive to the Harrison estate feels like a descent into enemy territory. I park across the street, technically outside the restriction zone, and watch the movers cart box after box to a waiting truck. Mother appears on the front steps, directing traffic like a conductor, orchestrating her revenge symphony. She spots my car and smiles, pulling out her phone, presumably to call the police. My own phone rings. Alan. You're making this worse for yourself, he says without preamble. Like you made it worse for Dad, stealing his alimony payments for your failing business ventures. That money was an investment in this family's future. Your future if you'd been smart enough to see it. My future? I laugh bitterly. You mean like the future you promised Dad's desk had at the dump? Speaking of futures, his voice turns silky. I had an interesting conversation with Thomas Peterson yesterday about certain proprietary information that might have been compromised during your investigation. The threat is clear. My career, everything I've built, balanced on a knife's edge. What do you want? Drop the lawsuit, sign a non-disclosure agreement, accept that your mother knows what's best for this family. Through the windshield, I watch Mother supervise the disposal of my life. A photo album falls, spilling memories across the driveway. She doesn't even glance down. You have until tomorrow to decide, Alan continues. After that, the Petersons will be very interested in reviewing Oracle Tech's security protocols. The line goes dead as a police cruiser pulls up. Mother's smile widens as she points toward my car. My phone buzzes again. Megan, found something you need to see. Meet me at Riverside Park in 20 minutes. Come alone. The park is deserted when I arrive. Megan sits on our old favorite bench, clutching a leather portfolio. I took this from Mum's study, she says without looking up. It's everything. Documents, letters, photos she didn't destroy. There's even stuff about Alan's company that, well, you should see for yourself. Why are you helping me? She finally meets my eyes. Because yesterday she started talking about my future the same way she used to talk about yours. about suitable matches and social obligations and living up to the Harrison name. I saw my whole life mapped out in her words, and her voice cracks. I don't want to become her next project. I open the portfolio. Inside, years of carefully documented manipulation unfold in Mother's precise handwriting. Bank statements, investment records, correspondence with Alan's lawyers dating back to before the divorce. There's more, Megan whispers, about what really happened when she left Dad, your dad. It wasn't like she told everyone. My hands shake as I turn the pages, each revelation worse than the last, building a picture of calculated destruction that spans decades. What are you going to do? Megan asks. I close the portfolio, decision crystallizing like ice in my veins. Exactly what she taught me to do. Play the long game. Because Mother's greatest lesson wasn't about social climbing or maintaining appearances. It was about patience, and revenge is a dish best served cold. 6 months of careful planning collapse with a single email from Oracle Tech's HR department. My hands shake as I read it again. Pending investigation into allegations of corporate espionage, immediate suspension, required to surrender all company devices. Ryan stands in our kitchen doorway, his own termination notice in hand. Alan must have friends on the board, or Mother pulled strings through the Peterson connection. I close my laptop. We both know she never does anything halfway. My phone lights up. Megan's third call today. I let it go to voicemail, like the others. After last week's revelation about her role in monitoring my activities for Mother, trust feels like a luxury I can't afford. Marcus called, Ryan says quietly. The restraining order's been extended. They're adding harassment charges over the portfolio documents Megan gave you, which conveniently disappeared from evidence. I laugh, hollow and sharp. Another setup. I should have seen it coming. The doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see 2 police officers. My stomach drops. Miss Harrison, one holds up a warrant. We need you to come with us. The interrogation room is cold, sterile. Detective Morris slides photos across the table. Screenshots of emails I never sent, financial transactions I never made, meetings I never attended. These paint a concerning picture, she says. Industrial espionage, fraud, harassment. Mr. Harrison's company lost millions due to leaked information. Those documents are forged, like the portfolio your sister gave you, the one you claim disappeared. She raises an eyebrow. Your mother's quite concerned about your mental state, says you've been fabricating conspiracy theories, making threats. Of course she does. She's offered to drop charges if you agree to psychiatric evaluation and treatment. The pieces click into place. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about discrediting me completely. Dad meets me outside the police station, looking older than I've ever seen him. I mortgaged my apartment to post bail, he says. It was all I could do. I'm sorry. The words feel inadequate. I never meant to drag you into this. You didn't. Laura did, years ago. He hands me an envelope. This came for you at my place. Inside is a letter from Cambridge University, confirming Megan's enrollment, funded by the last of my education trust. Below that, a note in Mother's elegant script. Some lessons require sacrifice. Consider this your final education in family loyalty. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Mom knows about Ryan's startup plans. Says she'll make sure no investor touches it. Please, just stop fighting her. Megan. That night, Ryan holds me as I finally break down. We've lost everything, I whisper. Our jobs, our savings, your company's future, all because I couldn't let it go. We haven't lost each other, he says, but there's a hesitation in his voice that wasn't there before. Morning brings more devastating news. Marcus calls early. Alan's lawyers are pushing for criminal charges. With the fabricated evidence they've planted, you're looking at serious jail time unless I agree to Mother's terms. Psychiatric commitment, a full retraction, and a binding agreement never to contact any member of the Harrison family again. He pauses, including Megan. I stand at our apartment window, watching the sun rise over a world that seems to be closing in from all sides. Mother's chess pieces are perfectly arranged, my career destroyed, my reputation in tatters, my relationship strained, and my freedom hanging by a thread. The torn photograph sits on my desk, Dad's missing half a reminder of everything that's been taken. But as I stare at Mother's smiling face in the remaining piece, something shifts inside me. She taught me well, about patience, about planning, about the art of destruction. But she forgot one crucial lesson. Sometimes you have to lose everything to see what really matters. My phone buzzes again. Another unknown number. Not all evidence disappeared. Some copies still exist. Meet tonight if you want the truth. A friend. It's probably another trap. But at this point, with everything stripped away, I have nothing left to lose. And nothing is more dangerous than someone with nothing left to lose. The Harrison Estate's security lights cast long shadows across the manicured lawn as I approached the garden gate. My mysterious informant chose midnight for our meeting, fitting for what feels like my last stand. Instead of a stranger, I find Megan perched on the stone bench, clutching a laptop. Her hands tremble as she opens it. "I made copies," she whispers, "of everything, the real documents, not Mother's fabricated versions, including what she did to Alan's first wife." Before I can respond, floodlights blast the garden in harsh white light. Mother emerges from the shadows, Alan close behind. "I'm disappointed, Megan." Mother's voice carries that familiar note of calculated disapproval. "Though I suppose betrayal runs in your sister's blood." "It's over, Laura." I step between her and Megan. "The truth's coming out, all of it." "Truth?" She laughs softly. "You still don't understand, do you? Truth is whatever people believe. And right now, they believe you're an unstable, vindictive daughter who couldn't handle her parents' divorce." "Show her," Megan says quietly. I open the laptop, turning it toward Mother and Alan. Karen Harrison's suicide note. The original version, not the one you doctored for the police. She knew about the embezzlement, didn't she? About how you and Alan were stealing from her family's company. Alan's face drains of color. Mother's smile hardens. "You drove her to kill herself," I continue, "then used her death to gain control of the company shares. Just like you tried to destroy Dad, and now me." "Careful, Ella." Mother's hand slides into her pocket. "Some accusations can't be taken back. I already sent copies to the police, and the SEC, and Karen's family." "You're bluffing." "Am I?" "You taught me well, Mother, about patience, about keeping evidence, about playing the long game." She pulls out her phone. "One call and your father loses everything. His job, his apartment, what's left of his reputation." "Already taken care of," Megan interjects. "I transferred enough proof to his lawyer to protect him. It's done, Mom." Mother turns on her, fury crackling through her composed facade. "After everything I've done for you, the opportunities, the connections, your future." "My future?" Megan stands. "You mean like Karen's future, or Ella's, or anyone else who got in your way?" "Alan," Mother snaps, "call security." But Alan backs away, his carefully constructed world crumbling. "The SEC? Karen's family?" His voice cracks. "What have you done, Laura?" "What I had to do, for us, for our family." "There is no us," I say quietly. "There never was, just your next move, your next victim, your next scheme." Police lights flash at the front gate. Mother's mask finally shatters. "You ungrateful little..." She lunges for the laptop. I sidestep, letting her momentum carry her forward. She stumbles, catching herself against the stone bench. For a moment, our eyes meet, and I see something I've never seen before in her gaze. Fear. "I learned from the best," I tell her. About sacrifice, about loyalty, about consequences. The police are in the garden now, reading rights, securing evidence. Alan goes quietly, already negotiating. But Mother stands frozen, watching her carefully constructed world collapse. "You'll regret this," she hisses as they lead her away. "Both of you," You're nothing without me. Nothing. Megan's hand finds mine in the chaos. I'm sorry, she whispers, for everything, for helping her spy on you, for not speaking up sooner. You did now. That's what matters. As the police lights fade, we sit on the garden bench, surrounded by the ruins of Mother's empire. Dawn breaks over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of possibility. What happens now? Megan asks. I think of Dad, finally free from Mother's threats, of Ryan, waiting at home, of the truth, long buried but finally unearthed. Now we build something new, I tell her, something real. Because in the end, Mother's greatest lesson wasn't about revenge or manipulation, it was about choice. And tonight, we chose truth over power, justice over vengeance, and each other over everything else. That's a lesson she never understood. The courthouse steps feel colder than they should in spring. Mother stands at the top, designer suit exchanged for prison orange, as the guards lead her toward the transport van. Her eyes find mine in the crowd. For a moment, I see past the mask, past the carefully constructed facade of control and superiority. I see something raw, something almost human. Then it's gone, replaced by that familiar steel. Even in defeat, she refuses to break. She took a plea deal, Marcus says beside me. 15 years, plus restitution to Karen Harrison's family and your father. And Alan. 5 years, reduced sentence for cooperation. The SEC is still unraveling the financial web. Dad approaches, looking lighter than I've seen him in years. The weight of Mother's manipulation finally lifted from his shoulders. Ready to go? Almost. I turn to Megan, who's been quiet all morning. You sure about this? She nods, clutching the envelope containing her withdrawn acceptance to Cambridge. I need to find my own path, not Mother's version of it. The four of us, Dad, Ryan, Megan, and I, walk away from the courthouse together. Not the family Mother tried to erase, but something new, something real. At home, I find the torn photograph on my desk. Mother's half smiles up at me, still trying to control the narrative even from prison. I take Dad's half from my drawer, carefully aligning the torn edges. The doorbell rings. A courier holds out a package. One last delivery from Mother's lawyers. Inside, I find a single sheet of paper in her elegant handwriting. You think you've won, perhaps you have. But remember who taught you to play the game. Remember whose daughter you really are. Someday you'll understand why I did everything I did. Someday you'll thank me. Ryan finds me in the kitchen, the letter crumpled in my fist. You okay? She still thinks this was all about winning. I smooth out the paper, about power and control and making people bend to your will. Wasn't it? About revenge? I thought so at first. I look at the restored photograph, not just the image, but the truth it represents. But it was about something else, something she never understood. The sound of laughter drifts in from the living room, where Dad and Megan are assembling furniture for her new apartment. Simple, honest work. Real connections. I take Mother's letter to the sink and strike a match. The paper curls and blackens, her final attempt at manipulation turning to ash. You know what the hardest part is? I tell Ryan as we watch it burn. Part of me still loves her. Part of me always will. But I finally understand. Love shouldn't require sacrifice. It shouldn't demand destruction. So what now? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. A news alert. Alan's company stocks are plummeting as more revelations emerge. The empire Mother built on lies and manipulation is crumbling. But that's not my concern anymore. I head to the living room, where Dad is teaching Megan how to sand wood properly, just like he taught me years ago. Their laughter mingles with the scent of sawdust and possibility. Need another set of hands? I ask. Dad looks up, his smile reaching his eyes. Always room for one more. As we work, I think about Mother's words. Remember whose daughter you really are. She meant it as a reminder of her influence, her lessons in power and control. But watching Dad show Megan the same patience and care he showed me, I realize I am my father's daughter, and that's the victory Mother never saw coming. Not revenge or destruction or power games won, but this, the simple act of building something true, something that can't be torn apart or erased or manipulated, something that will last. I take the restored photograph and pin it to the wall, not as a reminder of what was lost, but as proof of what can be rebuilt. Whole, unbroken, real. Mother taught me how to tear things down. Dad taught me how to build them back up. In the end, that made all the difference.
The old video player whirred to life, spitting dust into the musty attic air. I hadn't meant to find it. This ancient recording of my second birthday party, labeled in my mother's perfect cursive. The girls, age 2. But here I was, cross-legged on the floor, watching my past unfold in grainy resolution. My name is Adelaide, and I'm about to show you the exact moment I realized why I never felt like I belonged in my own family. Look at Alyssa. She's just precious. My mother's voice cooed through the speakers. The camera panned across our living room, focusing on my twin sister in her pink party dress, perfectly curled pigtails bouncing as she danced. Such a natural performer, isn't she, Michael? Born for the spotlight, my father agreed, his voice warm with pride. The camera swung briefly to catch me in the corner, quietly stacking blocks into intricate patterns. No one commented on my engineering prowess. No one even seemed to notice I was there. Alyssa, sweetheart, show everyone your twirl. Mother's voice again, dripping with adoration. The camera stayed fixed on my sister as she spun, her dress floating around her like a cotton candy cloud. The assembled relatives clapped and cheered. I paused the video, studying the frozen frame. There I was, still in the background, looking up from my blocks with an expression I recognized all too well. Hope mixed with resignation. 15 years later, nothing had changed. Adelaide? Alyssa's voice carried up through the attic floor. Mother wants us downstairs for dinner. I quickly ejected the tape, shoving it into my jacket pocket. Coming. The dining room was a shrine to Alyssa's achievements, debate team trophies, dance recital photos, academic certificates. My robotics competition medals were conspicuously absent, probably still in the cardboard box where I'd left them last month. There you are, Mother said, barely glancing up from arranging the table settings. Alyssa, darling, tell everyone your news. My sister practically vibrated with excitement. I've been selected as a finalist for the Governor's Youth Leadership Award. That's wonderful, Father beamed, while Mother rushed to embrace her. We'll have to celebrate properly. Perhaps that weekend trip to the lake house we've been discussing? The videotape felt heavy in my pocket as I watched their performance of perfect family happiness. I'd won the state robotics championship last week. They'd forgotten to attend. Actually, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, I have news too. 3 pairs of eyes turned to me with varying degrees of interest. I've been invited to compete in the National Science Foundation's Young Inventors Showcase next month. Mother's smile tightened. That's nice, dear, but we were discussing Alyssa's achievement. The lake house weekend would be perfect timing before her award ceremony. The showcase is the same weekend, I said quietly. Well, surely you understand this is more important, Mother replied, her tone dismissive. Family should support each other in these moments. I felt something snap inside me, not violently, but with the quiet finality of a bridge cable giving way after years of strain. The video in my pocket wasn't just a relic anymore. It was evidence. You're right, I said, standing up. Family should support each other, all of the family. I walked out of the dining room, ignoring their calls to return. In my bedroom, I pulled out my laptop and typed Grace and Henry Carter into the search bar. My mother's parents, who I'd never met, but whose names I'd found scrawled on the back of an old photograph hidden in that same dusty attic. The first result was a recent article about their charitable foundation. They lived less than 2 hours away. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. Sometimes it's about reconstruction, building something new from the ruins of what was broken. I had a feeling my grandparents might understand that better than anyone. Behind me, the dinner party continued, my absence barely noticed. But for the first time in 17 years, I didn't care. I had found my catalyst, and nothing would ever be the same. The robotics lab hummed with the sound of servos and excited chatter. My team had just qualified for the national championships, but I couldn't shake the weight of the email sitting in my inbox. My grandparents, the ones I'd never met, had responded to my carefully crafted message. Adelaide, check this calibration. Marcus, my project partner, called out. Something's off with the response time. I forced myself to focus on the robot's articulated arm, but my phone felt like it was burning a hole in my pocket. The Carters wanted to meet me. This Sunday. They'd attached a photo of themselves at some charity gala, and the resemblance to my mother was unmistakable, except for the warmth in their eyes. Earth to Adelaide. Marcus waved his hand in front of my face. You okay? You've been spacing out all morning. Before I could answer, a familiar voice cut through the lab. There's my brilliant sister. Alyssa stood in the doorway, her smile too wide, too perfect. Several heads turned. She had that effect on people. But I knew better. That smile meant trouble. What are you doing here? I asked, setting down my tools. Can't I support my twins' achievements? She glanced around the lab, her nose wrinkling slightly at the smell of solder and machine oil. Mother and father are hosting a dinner party tonight. Important clients. They want both of us there. Of course they did. The perfect family image needed both twins, even the less sparkly one. I have to finish this calibration. It wasn't a request, Adelaide. Her voice dropped lower, meant just for me. Mother's already upset about you skipping family dinner last week. Don't make this worse. I looked at our robot, then at Marcus's concerned face. Give me 20 minutes. You have 10, Alyssa said, already turning to leave, and wear something presentable. The dinner party was exactly as I expected. A carefully orchestrated performance of family perfection. Mother's real estate clients cooed over her darling twins, while father talked property values and market trends. Alyssa's been accepted to several Ivy League schools already, Mother announced over the main course. Early decision, of course. And Adelaide? Someone asked. Will you girls be attending college together? Before I could answer, Alyssa jumped in. Oh, Adelaide's more interested in technical schools. She's quite good with machines. The way she said it made it sound like I fixed toasters for a living. Actually, I said, setting down my fork, I've been offered a full scholarship to MIT's summer engineering program, and the robotics team I lead just qualified for nationals. The table fell silent. Mother's smile flickered. This wasn't part of the script. How wonderful, one of the clients said, genuinely impressed. 2 such accomplished daughters. Yes, father said quickly, though we're hoping Adelaide will consider more traditional options. The family business needs a steady hand for the future, and Alyssa's leadership skills. My robot can perform microsurgery, I interrupted. I designed the control interface myself. Alyssa's water glass hit the table too hard, splashing onto the pristine tablecloth. Nobody wants a robot operating on them, Adelaide. People trust people. The medical community disagrees. In fact, girls, Mother's voice carried a warning edge. Perhaps we should discuss college plans another time. Later, as the guests were leaving, Alyssa cornered me in the kitchen. What was that about? What was what about? You know exactly what. You're trying to overshadow me. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. That's rich coming from you. I've spent 17 years in your shadow. Oh, please, you've always had your little projects, but now you're deliberately trying to steal my moment. The leadership award, college acceptance. Your moment? When has it ever not been your moment? You're just jealous because what? I stepped closer, feeling 17 years of suppressed anger bubbling up. Because mother and father actually see you? Because they've never once forgotten to attend your events? Because they're planning your future while treating mine like an inconvenient hobby? Alyssa's face paled. That's not fair. No, I agreed, pulling out my phone and opening the email from my grandparents. It's not fair at all, but things are about to change. I left her standing there, staring after me as I headed upstairs. Sunday couldn't come fast enough. Let them have their perfect family dinner parties. I was done playing my assigned role in their carefully constructed fantasy. In my room, I pulled out the old videotape and added it to my growing collection of evidence. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else's happiness. It's about finally claiming your own. The Carter mansion loomed before me, its Georgian columns a stark contrast to our cookie-cutter suburban home. My hands trembled as I pressed the intercom button, half expecting to wake up from this surreal moment. Adelaide? A warm voice crackled through the speaker. Come in, sweetheart. The gates swung open silently. I'd told my parents I was at a robotics workshop. They hadn't even looked up from their phones. Grace Carter met me at the door, and I froze. It was like seeing my mother's face with all the coldness stripped away, replaced with something I'd been starving for my entire life, genuine joy at seeing me. You look just like Karen did at your age, she said softly, pulling me into a hug that felt like coming home, though I suspect you're much wiser than she was. Henry Carter appeared behind her, his eyes crinkling with emotion. Welcome home, Adelaide. Home. The word hit me like a physical force. Over tea served in delicate cups that probably cost more than my laptop, they asked about my life, my interests, my dreams. They actually listened to my answers. When I mentioned the robotics competition, Henry's eyes lit up. I was an engineer before I went into business, he said, still tinker in my workshop. Would you like to see it? Before I could answer, Grace placed a leather-bound album on the table. First, there's something you should know about your mother. The photos told a story I'd never heard. My mother as a teenager, brilliant and driven, accepting academic awards. Karen was going to be a surgeon, Grace explained, full scholarship to medical school. What happened? She met your father. Henry's voice carried old pain. He convinced her that a medical career wouldn't leave time for a proper family life, that it wasn't feminine enough. We tried to reason with her, Grace continued, offered to support her through school, but she chose his vision of her future over her own. When we objected, she cut us out completely. I stared at a photo of my teenage mother, recognizing the same spark I saw in my own eyes when working on my robots. She gave up everything, and now she's doing the same to you, Henry said quietly. We've been watching, Adelaide. Your achievements, your potential. We won't let history repeat itself. A door slammed somewhere in the house, making us all jump. Footsteps approached rapidly. Mother? Father? Your housekeeper? Let me. My mother's voice died as she entered the room. She stood frozen, staring at me sitting between her parents. Adelaide, what are you doing here? The better question, Grace said, rising, is what are you doing here, Karen, after 15 years of silence? I came to discuss. Mother's eyes darted to me. Business matters. Adelaide, go wait in the car. She's not going anywhere, Henry stated firmly. She's exactly where she belongs. She belongs with her family. The family that forgets to attend her competitions? Grace's voice was steel wrapped in silk. The family that dismisses her achievements in favor of her sisters? Mother's face went white. You've been spying on us? We've been protecting our granddaughter, Henry corrected. The one you've been systematically destroying, just like you destroyed yourself. Adelaide, Mother turned to me, her voice desperate. These people abandoned me when I needed them most. They're trying to turn you against us. I pulled out my phone and played the video from my second birthday party. Mother's dismissive voice filled the room. No, Michael, focus on Alyssa. Adelaide's just playing with blocks again. You've been doing this her entire life, Karen, Grace said softly, and we won't stand by and watch anymore. We're offering Adelaide what we once offered you, Henry added, a chance to be herself, to pursue her dreams without compromise. Mother's laugh was brittle. And I suppose this has nothing to do with your fortune? Nothing to do with finding a new heir since I disappointed you? Actually, I stood up, my voice steady despite my racing heart. It has everything to do with finding family who sees me, really sees me. Adelaide, I'm staying for dinner, I cut her off, and I'll be coming back, often. You can't stop me. The look on her face, rage mixed with fear and something like recognition, told me everything. She saw herself in me now, but it was too late. I wasn't going to let anyone clip my wings, not anymore. The acceptance letter from MIT's summer engineering program lay crumpled in Mother's perfectly manicured hands. I hadn't meant for her to find it. It had fallen from my bag during another tense family dinner. Now the silence in Father's study felt like a physical weight. Full scholarship, Mother said flatly. When were you planning to tell us? When you bothered to ask about my future. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Father leaned forward in his leather chair. Adelaide, be reasonable. The summer is already planned. Alyssa's internship at the governor's office. The family vacation. The vacation I'm not invited to? I watched their faces carefully. Yes, Alyssa told me about the family bonding trip to Europe. Mother's lips tightened. Your sister needs our support right now. Her future. And what about my future? A knock at the study door made us all turn. Alyssa stood there, her expression unreadable. I found something interesting in Adelaide's room. My stomach dropped as she held up the old videotape. Behind her, I could see my bedroom door standing open. She'd been snooping. What were you doing in my... More importantly, Alyssa cut me off. I found these. She pulled out printed emails between me and the Carters. Been busy making new family connections, sister dear? Father stood abruptly. The Carters? Karen, isn't that... My parents, Mother's voice was ice, who have no right to contact my daughter. They have every right, I shot back. They're the only ones who actually care about what I want. They're manipulating you, Mother snapped, using you to get back at me, just like they tried to control my life. By offering to support your dreams? The words hit their mark. Mother flinched. Henry told me about medical school, about how you gave it all up because Father convinced you it wasn't feminine enough. Father's face darkened. That's enough. No, it's not. I grabbed the acceptance letter from Mother's hands. You're trying to do the same thing to me. Well, I won't let you. I'm going to MIT this summer. You most certainly are not, Father declared. This family needs to present a united front. Your sister's political connections could be damaged if people find out about the black sheep twin. I laughed bitterly. Don't worry, I won't embarrass you by existing in public anymore. Adelaide, Alyssa stepped forward, her voice suddenly gentle. We're trying to help you. These people, they're strangers. We're your family. Are we? I pulled out my phone, queued up another video I'd found in the attic. Let's talk about family. The screen showed a 10-year-old Alyssa at her dance recital. In the background, a younger me was receiving a science fair award. Mother and Father stood with Alyssa, completely ignoring my moment. I have dozens of these, I said quietly. Years of evidence showing exactly what kind of family we are. You've been collecting evidence? Mother's voice shook. Against your own family? No, Mother. I've been collecting proof that I exist. The room fell silent. Even Alyssa seemed stunned. The Carters want to fund my education, I continued. All of it. MIT, graduate school, whatever I choose. No strings attached except one, that I follow my own dreams, not someone else's. And in exchange, they get their revenge on me. Mother's laugh was bitter. Using my own daughter as a weapon. Not everything is about you. I moved toward the door. But if you want to talk about weapons, ask yourself who taught me how to use them. I learned from the best, after all. If you walk out that door, Father started, you'll what? Notice I'm gone? I turned back one last time. The funny thing about being invisible is that no one sees you coming or going. I left them standing there, my sister's face showing the first real emotion I'd seen from her in years. Fear. Not of me, but of what I represented, the possibility of breaking free. In my room, I pulled out the packed bag I'd hidden under my bed weeks ago. The Carters had already offered me a place to stay if things went south. They understood about escape plans, about the price of freedom. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about becoming everything they tried to prevent you from being. And I was just getting started. The suitcases lined our foyer like soldiers preparing for battle. Mother supervised the loading of the car while Father checked their passports one last time. 3 weeks in Europe, the perfect family vacation. Minus one family member, of course. Adelaide, Alyssa called from the stairs, dragging her designer luggage. Could you help with these? I didn't move from my spot at the kitchen counter, where I was updating the code for our robotics project. The national competition was in 2 weeks. Not that anyone had asked. Adelaide, Mother's sharp voice cut through my concentration. Help your sister. I'm busy. I didn't look up. Besides, I wouldn't want to intrude on your family time. The typing stopped. Mother's heels clicked across the floor. This attitude needs to stop. We've discussed this. Someone needs to stay and watch the house. Watch the house? I finally looked up. That's your excuse? We both know you hired a house sitter. I saw the contract on Father's desk. Mother's face tightened. Your sister needs our support right now. These connections in Europe could secure her future. Right, because my future doesn't matter. That's not. My phone buzzed. A message from Grace. Everything's ready whenever you need it. Mother's eyes narrowed at the screen. Still conspiring with them? They're called grandparents, and they've offered to fund my entire education. They're trying to buy you, she spat, just like they tried to buy me. No, Mother, they tried to save you, just like they're saving me. The sound of breaking glass made us both jump. Alyssa stood in the doorway, a shattered water glass at her feet, but it was her face that caught my attention. She looked scared. What do you mean, saving you? She asked. I pulled out an envelope from my bag. The Carters aren't just funding my MIT program. They're offering me a place to live, full independence. You're leaving? Alyssa's voice cracked. For the first time in years, I saw my sister instead of my rival. Adelaide, Father appeared behind her. This has gone far enough. You're 17. You can't just... Actually, I can. I stood up. I've already filed for emancipation. The Carters' lawyers helped me prepare everything. Your signatures aren't even required, given the evidence I've collected. Mother went pale. Evidence? Years of documented neglect. Financial records showing the disparity in spending between Alyssa and me. Witness statements from teachers about missed conferences, competitions, awards ceremonies. The videos were just the beginning. You've been building a case against us? Father's voice rose. Your own parents? No. I met his gaze. I've been building an escape route. Adelaide, please. Alyssa stepped forward, glass crunching under her shoes. We can fix this. Cancel the trip. Have a family meeting. That's just it, I cut her off. We're not a family. We're a carefully curated image, and I'm the smudge you keep trying to erase. Mother grabbed my arm. You ungrateful. Karen. Grace Carter's voice rang through the kitchen. She stood in the doorway, Henry beside her. I hadn't even heard them come in. Get out of my house, Mother snarled. Gladly, Henry said calmly. Adelaide, are you ready? I picked up my laptop. The bag I'd packed weeks ago was already in their car. You can't do this. Father started toward me, but Henry stepped between us. Actually, she can, and if you try to stop her, the evidence goes public. How would that affect Alyssa's political aspirations? The silence was deafening. Adelaide, Alyssa whispered, don't go. For a moment, I hesitated. Behind the perfect facade, I saw my sister, really saw her, for the first time in years. She was as trapped as I had been, just in a different way. You could come too, I offered quietly. Mother's sharp intake of breath was answer enough. Alyssa stepped back, shaking her head. That's what I thought. I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. Enjoy Europe. Send me a postcard from the life you chose. As Grace's car pulled away, I watched my family shrink in the rearview mirror. Mother stood rigid. Father looked lost. And Alyssa? Alyssa pressed her hand against the window, an echo of connection too late to matter. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in what you take, but in what you refuse to give anymore. Your time, your dreams, your future. I was done being the family ghost. It was time to become solid. 3 weeks after my family left for Europe, my robotics team won the national championship. The headlines read, Local Teens Medical Robot Revolution. Grace and Henry hosted a celebration dinner, but something felt hollow about the victory. No one from my old life was there to see it. That emptiness didn't last long. They returned on a Sunday. I was in Henry's workshop, refining my robot's interface, when Grace called down. Adelaide, you have visitors. Mother and father stood in the living room, still tan from their vacation. Alyssa wasn't with them. Congratulations on your win, Father said stiffly. It's all over the local news. Thank you for finally noticing. I kept my distance, noting how Mother's eyes darted around the room, cataloging the wealth on display. We've come to take you home, Mother announced. This rebellious phase has gone on long enough. Henry stepped forward. Karen, the Emancipation Papers have been challenged, Father interrupted. Our lawyers found irregularities in the filing, and we have evidence of parental alienation. My stomach dropped. What evidence? Mother pulled out her phone, playing a recording. My voice filled the room. They never wanted me. I was just the spare, the backup plan. It was from a private conversation with Grace, edited to remove context. You've been recording me? Alyssa has been gathering evidence, Mother said coldly. For weeks before we left, every conversation, every secret meeting. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. My own twin, the one person I'd hoped might understand. You can't force me back, I said, but my voice wavered. Actually, we can. Father held up more papers. The court has temporarily suspended the emancipation pending investigation. You're still a minor, Adelaide. You're coming home. Over my dead body. Grace stepped between us. Mother, Karen's voice turned silky. You really want another public scandal? Remember what happened last time you tried to control someone's life? The threat hung in the air. Grace paled. Adelaide, Henry said quietly, this is your choice. But was it? If they fought this, my grandparents could lose everything. Their reputation, their foundation's work, their ability to help others, all because they tried to help me. If I come back, I said slowly, what are your terms? Mother smiled. No more contact with the Carters. You'll finish high school at home, focusing on proper subjects. This engineering obsession ends now. And my robot, the medical contracts, will be transferred to Thompson Industries, Father stated. Your work belongs to the family. They weren't just trying to control my future. They wanted to steal it. Adelaide, don't, Grace pleaded. I looked at my grandparents, these people who'd given me everything my parents hadn't. Then I looked at Mother's triumphant face and saw something I'd never noticed before. Fear. She wasn't just trying to control me. She was terrified of what I represented, freedom, choice, the path she'd abandoned. Okay, I said quietly. I'll come home. Mother's smile widened. But first, I pulled out my phone. Listen to this. I played the complete conversation with Grace, unedited. Then another, Mother admitting to the years of neglect. And finally, today's conversation, recorded live. You're not the only one who knows how to gather evidence, I said. Everything you've done, every manipulation, every threat, it's all documented. If you force me home, if you touch my patents or my grandparents, it all goes public. You wouldn't dare, Mother whispered. Try me. You taught me well, remember? Image is everything. Father stepped forward, his face dark with rage, but Henry moved faster, placing himself between us. Get out of my house, he said quietly, before I call the police. They left, but Mother's parting words chilled me. This isn't over, Adelaide. Family is forever. I sank onto the couch, shaking. The victory felt Pyrrhic. I'd won my freedom, but at what cost? My sister's final betrayal, my parents' escalating threats, the knowledge that this war was far from over. Grace sat beside me, holding my hand. You did the right thing. Did I? I stared at the door. They'll never stop coming after me now. No, Henry agreed. But now you're ready for them. I thought about my robot, designed to help people heal. Somewhere along the way, my quest for revenge had transformed into something else, a fight not just for my freedom, but for my right to create, to help, to exist on my own terms. Mother was right about one thing. This wasn't over, but she'd forgotten an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous opponent is the one you taught to be invisible. The press conference room buzzed with anticipation. My medical robotics breakthrough had attracted international attention, and Thompson Industries, my father's hastily rebranded accounting firm, was trying to claim credit. I sat in the back, watching Father approach the podium. Mother and Alyssa flanked him, the perfect corporate family. The sight of them made my hands shake, but I steadied them on my laptop. Thompson Industries is proud to announce a revolutionary advancement in medical robotics, Father began. Our development team. Interesting. I stood up, my voice carrying through the room. I'd love to meet this development team. The reporters turned. Camera flashes exploded as they recognized me from the national championship coverage. Adelaide, Mother's smile was brittle. How lovely of you to join us. I wouldn't miss it. I walked forward, laptop in hand, especially since you're about to commit patent fraud. The room erupted in questions. Father gripped the podium. Security. Won't be necessary. I connected my laptop to the presentation system. I'm sure everyone here would love to see the actual development process of this technology. The screen filled with dated video footage from Henry's workshop. Me, working alone, developing the robot. Then the timestamps. All while I was living with my grandparents, long after I'd left home. Adelaide, Alyssa stepped forward, her voice low. Don't do this. We can work something out. Like you worked out recording private conversations to use against me? She flinched. Ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the crowd. Thompson Industries has no claim to this technology. The patents are registered solely in my name, developed independently with support from the Carter Foundation. The Carter Foundation? A reporter perked up. Karen Thompson's parents? Mother's face went white. Yes, I smiled. My grandparents, who, unlike my parents, actually supported my work instead of trying to steal it. These are family matters. Father tried to regain control. Private? Nothing about this is private. I cut him off. You tried to steal my future, again, but this time I have proof. I played the recording from our last confrontation. Their threats about forcing me home, taking my patents. The room fell silent. Adelaide, Mother's voice shook. We were trying to protect you. No, you were trying to control me, just like you've always done. I turned to the reporters. Thompson Industries has no rights to this technology. Any attempts to claim otherwise will result in immediate legal action. You ungrateful? Father started forward, but Alyssa grabbed his arm. Stop, she whispered. Everyone's watching. And they were. Dozens of cameras captured every moment of their carefully constructed facade crumbling. Mr. Thompson, a reporter called out, did you attempt to fraudulently claim your daughter's work? Ms. Thompson, why did you leave home? Is there a connection between this and the Carter Foundation's recent announcement about their succession plans? Mother's head snapped up at that last question. Succession plans? Oh, I smiled. Didn't you hear? Grandma and Grandpa are naming me their heir, all their wealth, their foundation, their legacy. It's going to the daughter you threw away. The look on her face, rage mixed with devastating realization, was everything I'd dreamed of. But somehow, it felt hollow. You know what the saddest part is? I said quietly, just for them. I would have shared it all. The success, the recognition, the future. All you had to do was love me. Alyssa stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Adelaide, please. Goodbye, sister. I turned away. Enjoy the spotlight. It's all yours now. As I walked out, reporters swarming around me, I heard Mother's voice crack. Adelaide, wait! But I kept walking. Behind me, their perfect world collapsed under the weight of truth. But I felt no satisfaction, only relief. Grace and Henry waited in the lobby. You didn't have to do it this way, Grace said softly. Yes, I did. I watched through the glass as security cleared the press conference room. They needed to learn that actions have consequences. And what did you learn? Henry asked. I thought about the years spent seeking revenge, only to find that success was the best revenge of all. I learned that sometimes winning isn't about destroying your enemies, I said. Sometimes it's about becoming everything they feared you could be. Outside, cameras flashed and reporters called my name. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible. I was inevitable. The hospital corridor buzzed with excitement as I guided my surgical robot through its first official procedure. Through the observation window, dozens of medical professionals watched, including Henry, who beamed with pride. This wasn't just a demonstration, it was a revolution in microsurgery. My phone vibrated. A news alert about Thompson Industries filing for bankruptcy. Father's desperate attempt to rebrand his accounting firm had backfired spectacularly after the press conference scandal. Their perfect facade had finally crumbled completely. I pushed the notification away, focusing on the delicate movements of my creation. This moment wasn't about them anymore. After the successful procedure, as the crowd of observers dispersed, I noticed a familiar figure lingering by the door. Alyssa, looking smaller somehow, without our parents' shadow looming over her. That was incredible, she said quietly. Thanks. I started packing up my equipment. How did you find me? I follow your work, all of it. She stepped closer. The medical journals, the interviews, the foundation initiatives. You're changing the world, Adelaide. While you're changing campaign strategies, the words came out sharper than intended. Actually, she smiled sadly, I dropped out of the political internship, started taking engineering classes instead. That made me look up. You hate engineering. No, I hate what I thought I had to be. She pulled something from her bag, an old photograph of us as children, building with blocks together. Remember this? Before they started pushing us into different boxes? I did remember. Before the roles were assigned, before the competition began. Mother and Father are selling the house, she continued, moving somewhere smaller. They wanted me to ask. She hesitated. They want to know if you'll meet with them. Why? So they can try to control me again? No, I think they finally understand what they lost. She placed the photo on my workstation. What we all lost. I studied my sister's face, really looked at her for the first time in years. The perfect mask was gone, replaced by something raw and real. I'm not coming back, I said firmly. I know, but maybe. She took a deep breath. Maybe I could come forward, learn from you, not as competition or replacement, just as sisters. Before I could answer, Henry appeared in the doorway. Adelaide, the Carter Foundation board is waiting. Coming, I gathered my things, then turned back to Alyssa. You know it won't be easy. Breaking free of their expectations never is. I learned that from watching you. She smiled tentatively. You showed me it was possible. I thought about revenge, about justice, about all the ways I'd wanted to make them feel as invisible as they'd made me feel. But standing here, surrounded by the life I'd built, those desires felt distant. Sunday dinners, I said finally, at the Carters. Come alone. We'll start there. Her eyes lit up with hope, the same look I'd seen in the mirror when Grace and Henry first opened their door to me. Later, in Henry's workshop, I found Grace looking through old family albums. Everything all right? She asked, noting my thoughtful expression. I picked up a screwdriver, turning it over in my hands. I think I finally understand why you never gave up on Mother, even after she pushed you away. Grace smiled softly. Sometimes love means keeping the door open, even when someone slams it shut, but not letting them walk all over you when they decide to walk through it. Exactly. She closed the album. Your sister came alone today. That's a start. I nodded, picking up the photograph Alyssa had left. 2 little girls, building something together, before the world told them they couldn't. You know, I said, I always thought revenge would feel like winning, but this feels more like freedom, Grace finished. The freedom to choose who you want to be and who you want in your life. I pinned the photograph to my workbench next to the blueprints for my next project. Maybe some bridges couldn't be rebuilt. Maybe some shouldn't be. But others. Through the workshop window, I watched Alyssa walking to her car, shoulders straight, looking forward instead of back. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying what hurt you, but in building something new from the pieces they left behind. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you find others willing to build with you.
The cruise ship towered above me like a gleaming white castle, and I couldn't stop smiling. After 18 months of overtime and careful budgeting, I was finally here. The celestial dream, 12 decks of luxury that I'd planned down to the minute. My husband Ray kept telling me I was obsessing over the details, but that's just who I am. I'm Sophia, and I like things perfect. Babe, you've got the paperwork, right? Ray asked, barely looking up from his phone. I pulled out the carefully organized folder containing our suite confirmation, dinner reservations, and premium package upgrades. Of course I do. I'm the one who planned everything, I said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. He hadn't helped with any of the arrangements, but suddenly he was concerned about the documentation. The check-in process went smoothly, at least until we reached our suite. I inserted the keycard, pushed open the door, and froze. The sound of someone rummaging through the bathroom stopped me in my tracks. "Hello?" I called out, alarmed. "Oh my God, Sophie, you're finally here!" a familiar voice chirped. Scarlett, Ray's younger sister, emerged from our bathroom wearing my bathrobe and holding my brand new MAC lipstick. "This shade is gorgeous on me. Mind if I borrow it?" I turned to Ray, who was suddenly very interested in the carpet pattern. "What is she doing here?" "Surprise!" He gave a weak smile. "Mum thought it would be nice if Scarlett joined us. She's never been on a cruise before." "In our suite?" My voice came out higher than intended. "Well, yes, the pull-out couch is super comfortable. I checked earlier," Scarlett said, flopping onto our king-size bed, the one I'd specifically requested for its ocean view. "I paid for this suite," I said slowly. "I booked it 6 months ago. Where am I supposed to sleep?" "The couch converts to a queen," Ray said quickly. "It's just a room, babe. Don't make this weird." My phone buzzed. A notification from the cruise app. "Your captain's table reservation for 2 has been updated to party of 3 under guest Scarlett Newman." "Did you give her access to my cruise account?" I asked Ray. "She needed to make some adjustments," he shrugged. "It's not a big deal." I watched as Scarlett continued unpacking her things into my carefully chosen suite. The suite I'd saved for. The suite I'd dreamed about. She was hanging her clothes in the closet I'd mentally organised weeks ago. My phone rang. Alexandra, my mother-in-law's name, flashed on the screen. "Sophia, dear, I hope you're not giving Scarlett any trouble about the room situation. You know how she gets seasick. She needs the window. Besides, you're always so practical. I'm sure you don't mind the couch." I ended the call without responding and opened the cruise app again. There it was. Every reservation, every premium add-on, every special experience I'd meticulously planned, all still under my primary account, all still under my control. "Sophie," Scarlett called out, "be a dear and grab my bags from the hall. And can you check when our spa appointments are tomorrow? I told Mom you booked us the works." I looked at my husband, still avoiding eye contact. I looked at Scarlett, already treating my dream suite like her personal kingdom. I looked at my phone, where I had complete administrative access to every aspect of this cruise. "Of course," I said sweetly, picking up my tablet. "Let me just check those spa appointments for you." Scarlett beamed. "You're the best. This is going to be so much fun. The 3 of us, just like old times." We'd never had any old times. She'd spent the last 5 years treating me like her personal assistant, while Ray watched in silence. I opened the spa booking page and saw 3 appointments under my name: facial, massage, and something called Royal Relaxation Ritual. I hadn't booked those. Scarlett must have added them to my account. "Found them," I said, smiling as I typed. "Let me just confirm everything for you." My finger hovered over the cancel button. 5 years of being the family doormat flashed through my mind. 5 years of "don't make this weird" and "you're so practical" and "be a dear." I hit cancel. The confirmation popped up instantly. "All spa services cancelled. No refund required, as services were not yet charged." "All set for tomorrow," I said, watching Scarlett spread her things across my vanity. Everything's taken care of. And it would be, just not the way they expected. My phone buzzed again. A text from my best friend Nora. "How's the dream cruise going?" I looked at my husband and his sister, making themselves at home in my suite, then down at my phone with its complete access to every aspect of this voyage. "Just getting started," I typed back. "And I think it's going to be quite a ride. Day 2 on the Celestial Dream, and I was already living up to my designated role as family servant." I'd spent the morning running between decks, fetching Scarlett's forgotten sunscreen, booking last-minute excursions she'd decided she had to do, and watching her charge endless drinks to my room account. "Sophie, can you grab my white cover-up from the suite?" Scarlett called from her poolside lounger. "The one with the gold trim." I paused mid-step, balancing 3 specialty cocktails I'd just purchased. "I am actually heading to—" "I need it for the sunset photos," she interrupted. "You know how important social media is for my brand." Her brand consisted of 2,000 Instagram followers and a failed attempt at becoming a lifestyle influencer. But Ray was already giving me that look, the one that said, "Don't make waves." "While you're up there," he added, "could you grab my other sunglasses?" I set down their drinks and headed back to the suite. Again, the memory of last year's Christmas flashed through my mind as I walked. Scarlett borrowing the designer handbag I'd saved up for, then somehow leaving it behind at a club. Ray had said the same thing then. "Don't make waves." My phone buzzed. Nora again. "Tell me you're not actually sleeping on the couch." "Worse," I typed back. "I'm their personal concierge. Girl, you paid for this cruise. Check your backbone. It's still there." I smiled, remembering the cancelled spa appointments. Opening the cruise app again, I noticed new charges. $240 for a sunset champagne tasting I hadn't authorised. Scarlett's name was on the booking. "Processing refund," I typed into the app's chat support. "Unauthorised booking." Back at the pool, Scarlett was posing for photos with Ray, both holding up their drinks. "To the best brother ever," she giggled, "treating his baby sister to her first cruise." I nearly dropped the cover-up. "Treating?" "Oh, Sophie," Scarlett waved her phone. "Look how many likes we're getting. Everyone loves a generous big brother." Ray at least had the decency to look uncomfortable. "It's just social media, babe. You know how it is." "I do know how it is," I said quietly, opening my own phone. "I have the receipts right here." "Don't be petty," Scarlett snapped. "Nobody likes a woman who talks about money." I thought about the overtime hours, the packed lunches, the cancelled shopping trips with friends, all to pay for this cruise. My cruise. "Speaking of money," I said, "how was the spa this morning?" Scarlett's face fell. "Some stupid computer glitch. All our appointments were cancelled." "That's weird," I replied, watching her face carefully, "since I never booked any spa appointments in the first place." "Ray," Scarlett whined, tell her how you promised I could have the full cruise experience." Ray shifted uncomfortably. "Babe, can't you just book it again? For your sister?" "Your sister," I repeated slowly. "Not your wife." My phone buzzed again. The cruise app. Sunset champagne tasting refund. Processed successfully. Would you like to block future unauthorized bookings? I clicked yes without hesitation. "Oh my God," Scarlett suddenly squealed. "I almost forgot. We have that amazing sunset toast thing tonight. I told everyone on Instagram to tune in for my live stream." "Actually," I said, checking my phone, "that booking seems to have been refunded too. How strange." "What?" Scarlett grabbed her phone, frantically checking her notifications. No, I already picked out my outfit. Ray, do something." "Sophia," Ray started, using his reasonable voice, "just fix it. You know how to work the app." I stood up, gathering my things. "You're right. I do know how to work the app. I know exactly how it works." "Where are you going?" Scarlett demanded. "To enjoy my cruise," I replied, "the one I paid for." "Oh, and Scarlett, that white cover-up you're wearing, it's mine. I'd like it back." She clutched the fabric like a shield. "Ray!" But I was already walking away, my phone buzzing with new notifications. One from Nora. "Yes, Queen!" Another from the cruise app. "Would you like to review your cabin access settings?" I smiled, remembering the key card I'd just slipped out of my purse and into my pocket. the master keycard to our suite that I'd requested from guest services this morning. Tonight, someone else could sleep on the pull-out couch. My phone buzzed one final time. Alexandra. Scarlett's very upset. I raised my children to share. I typed back quickly. So did my parents. They also taught me to stand up for myself. Then, I turned off my phone and headed to the upper deck. I heard there was a sunset champagne tasting up there. For one, the spa's rejection of Scarlett's attempted booking echoed through the entire deck. I could hear her shrill voice from 3 floors away as I sipped my morning coffee on my private balcony. What do you mean, not authorized? I'm a Newman. Check again. I smiled into my cup, remembering how I'd spent an hour last night adjusting every single booking permission. The suite's pull-out couch hadn't been comfortable, but the sound of Scarlett's frustrated pacing at 7 a.m. made it worth it. My phone lit up with Ray's face. Decline. 3 seconds later. Babe, please, call me back. Scarlett's crying. I texted Nora instead. Operation Take Back. My cruise is in full swing. Spill the tea, sis, she replied instantly. Before I could respond, voices drifted up from the deck below. I recognized them immediately and froze. She's always been like this, Scarlett was saying. So controlling, so common. Well, dear, what did Ray expect? Alexandra's voice. She must have called in. Shopping at outlet malls, cutting coupons. I told him she wasn't our kind of people. Mum, she actually expected me to sleep on the couch. Me, in my condition. I leaned closer to the railing. What condition? I know, sweetheart. That's why I told Ray to give you the bed. Your anxiety needs proper rest. I nearly laughed out loud. Anxiety, right. Did you see her yesterday? Scarlett continued, acting like she paid for everything. I did pay for everything, I whispered to myself, opening the cruise app again. A notification popped up. Attempted upgrade to Suite 8024, authorization required. Decline, I tapped, then went further. Remove guest upgrade privileges. My phone buzzed. Ray again. Babe, please. Scarlett tried to move to a different suite, but her card was declined. Can you just... I turned off my phone. A knock at my door made me jump. Housekeeping! I opened it to find not housekeeping, but Scarlett, Ray hovering behind her. This is ridiculous, she burst out. I'm locked out of everything. The spa, the premium restaurants, even the suite. That's strange, I said calmly. Have you tried calling the front desk? They said all changes need the primary account holder's approval, Ray cut in. On, Sophia, don't be like this. Like what? I asked. Like someone who expects to sleep in the bed she paid for? Like someone who doesn't appreciate being called common behind her back? They both paled. You heard everything, I finished, about my outlet mall shopping, my coupon cutting, and Scarlett's convenient condition. You were spying on us. Scarlett's voice rose to that familiar pitch. No need to spy when you're broadcasting your contempt across 3 decks. Fix this, Ray demanded. Now. I looked at my husband of 5 years. Really looked at him. Or what? Or I'll call Mom. Please do, I said, reaching for my tablet. While you're at it, ask her about the credit card decline notices I just received. Seems someone tried to charge several $1,000s to my account without authorization. Scarlett's face went from red to white. That's not... I didn't... You did, I said, turning the screen to show them. 7 attempted charges in the last hour. Good thing I enabled 2-factor authentication. You're ruining everything, Scarlett shrieked. Ray, do something. But Ray just stood there looking lost between his sister's tears and his wife's steel spine. I have a suggestion, I said sweetly. The buffet on Deck 6 is included in the basic cruise package. No authorization needed. Perfect for your condition. My phone buzzed again. A text from the cruise director. Mrs. Newman, we've noted your concerns about unauthorized charges. Would you like to schedule a meeting to discuss security options? Yes, I typed back. And please call me Sophia. This isn't over, Scarlett hissed, grabbing Ray's arm. We're going to HR about this. Right, Ray. I laughed for the first time in days. HR? On a cruise ship? Go ahead. Tell them how you tried to steal my suite, my spa appointments, and my credit line. I'm sure they'll be fascinated. They stormed off, Scarlett's voice carrying down the hallway. She can't do this to me. I'm your sister. I closed the door and picked up my tablet again. The dinner reservations page showed a new attempted booking under Scarlett's name at the Premium Steakhouse. Decline, I tapped. My phone lit up with a text from Nora. How's it going? I sent her a picture of my ocean view, then typed, Remember when you said I should burn the ship down? I found a better way. I'm freezing them out. One declined charge at a time. The response was immediate. Another notification popped up. Attempted suite access. Denied. I smiled and reached for my cruise planner. The day was young, and I had a lot of reservations to protect. Mrs. Newman? A tall man in a crisp white uniform approached my breakfast table. I'm Gavin Price, the cruise director. I believe we have a meeting scheduled. I gestured to the empty chair across from me. Please, call me Sophia. I understand you've had some security concerns? His diplomatic tone suggested he knew exactly what was happening. You could say that. My sister-in-law seems to think my cruise account is her personal piggy bank. Gavin's professional smile cracked slightly. Ah, yes. The young lady who tried to charge the helicopter tour to your suite this morning? I nearly choked on my mimosa. The what? Don't worry, it was declined. He pulled out a tablet. I've flagged your account for additional security. No charges or booking changes without your physical presence and ID. Thank you, I said, relief washing over me. I appreciate you. Scarlett's voice cut through the dining room like a foghorn. She stormed toward our table, Ray trailing behind her. You got us kicked out of the captain's lounge. Several nearby diners turned to stare. Actually, Gavin interjected smoothly, premium lounge access requires proper authorization from the primary account holder. I am authorized. Scarlett's face was turning an alarming shade of red. Tell him, Ray. Ray stepped forward, trying to look authoritative. This is ridiculous. I'm her husband. Who didn't pay for the cruise? I finished. Or anything else, apparently. Is there a problem here? A new voice joined the conversation. A well-dressed man from the next table stood up, his presence somehow commanding attention. I couldn't help but overhear. This is a private matter, Ray snapped. Connor Townshend, the man introduced himself, ignoring Ray completely. I believe we met at the wine tasting last night, Sophia? I remembered him. The charming businessman who'd complimented my knowledge of Italian reds while Scarlett tried and failed to crash the event. You two know each other? Ray's tone shifted from angry to something else. Jealousy? Sophia's quite the wine enthusiast, Connor smiled. Unlike some other guests who couldn't tell a Barolo from a wine cooler, Scarlett's face went from red to purple. How dare you? Do you know who I am? A guest without premium access, according to my tablet, Gavin cut in smoothly. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're conducting business. Business? Ray stepped closer to me. What business? Cruise security, I said calmly. Apparently, someone tried to book a helicopter tour this morning. Would you know anything about that, Scarlett? She paled slightly. I was just looking at a $3,000 excursion. I raised an eyebrow. With my credit card? Mrs. Newman, Sophia, Gavin interrupted. Would you like me to call security? That won't be necessary, I said, standing up. I need to get ready for my massage anyway, the one I rebooked after someone cancelled it. You can't just leave. Scarlett grabbed my arm. We're family. Family doesn't steal, I said quietly, pulling free. Family doesn't mock each other behind their backs. And family certainly doesn't try to charge thousands of dollars without permission. I'll tell everyone, she threatened, about how you're treating me, about him, she pointed at Connor. Tell them what? Connor asked mildly. That you tried to hijack someone else's luxury cruise? That might not play well on Instagram. Ray finally found his voice. Sophia, please, just come back to the suite. We can work this out. The suite? I smiled always. Oh, I'm going there now. Alone. You see, I just had all the key cards reset. Well, except for mine. You can't do that, Scarlett shrieked. Actually, Gavin said, as the primary account holder and sole payee, she can. I gathered my things, nodding thanks to Gavin and Connor. The buffet on Deck 6 is serving lunch soon. I hear the pizza is excellent. As I walked away, I heard Scarlett's last, desperate attempt. Ray, do something! But what could he do? His name wasn't on a single booking. My phone buzzed with a text from Nora. Updates? I sent her a quick photo of Scarlett's furious face and Ray's defeated expression. Just watched entitled sister-in-law learn about consequences. Also met some interesting people. Get it, girl, she replied. Another notification popped up. From Gavin. Suite access successfully restricted. Only your keycard will work now. Let us know if you need anything else. I stepped into the elevator, pressing the button for my floor. As the doors closed, I caught a glimpse of Ray and Scarlett arguing with the maître d' about dinner reservations. For the first time in days, I felt truly relaxed. I had my suite back. I had my cruise back. And most importantly, I had my power back. My phone buzzed one final time. Connor. Dinner at the chef's table tonight? I promise better conversation than the wine tasting. I smiled as I typed my response. After all, I had a spare seat at my table now. And this time, I got to choose who filled it. The island excursion boat was about to leave when I heard the familiar screech behind me. Wait! You have to wait! Scarlett came running down the pier, Ray huffing behind her. We have tickets! The crew member checked his tablet. I'm sorry, Mum, I don't see your names on the list. Check under Newman, she demanded. I see one Newman. Sophia? He looked at me. Premium package, private beach cabana? I smiled and stepped onto the boat. That's me. This is discrimination, Scarlett stamped her foot. Ray, tell them! Ray stepped forward, trying to look authoritative in his wrinkled shorts. Listen, that's my wife. Where she goes, we go. Sir, the premium excursion is sold out. However, there's a public beach shuttle leaving in 2 hours. Public? Scarlett looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. My phone rang. Alexandra's number flashed on the screen. I answered, putting it on speaker. Sophia, dear! Her voice dripped honey-coated venom. I think it's time you remembered your place in this family. My place? I watched as the boat crew began untying the ropes. You mean the place where I work overtime to pay for luxury cruises? The place where I'm expected to give up my suite, my reservations, and my dignity because family? Now, listen here. No, you listen, I cut in, surprising myself with my calm tone. Everything on this cruise is under my name. Everything. And I'm done being the family doormat. The boat's engine rumbled to life. You ungrateful little... Alexandra started, but I cut her off. Enjoy your day, Alexandra. I hear the public beach is lovely this time of year. I ended the call as the boat pulled away from the dock, Scarlett's protests fading into the distance. An hour later, I was stretched out on a private beach cabana, champagne in hand, when my phone buzzed with a notification from Instagram. Scarlett had posted a story, a sad-faced selfie with the caption, "When toxic people show their true colours, family should come first. Drama shan't betrayed." I smiled and took my own photo. Crystal clear, turquoise water, pristine white sand, and my perfectly pedicured feet in the foreground. Caption: sometimes self-respect needs a vacation too. But boundaries. Within minutes, my phone exploded with messages. Nora was first. Queen, behaviour. Also, did you see what Scarlett posted about you in the cruise Facebook group? I hadn't, but I didn't need to. The cruise app notification told me everything. Attempted charge declined. Premium Wi-Fi package, 200 hoisintones. Another notification popped up. Message from guest services. Mr. Newman requesting urgent meeting regarding account access. Decline, I typed back. I'm at the beach. The cabana attendant appeared with fresh fruit and another champagne. Compliments of Mr. Townshend, she said with a smile. I spotted Connor a few cabanas down, raising his own glass in a silent toast. He'd been nothing but a perfect gentleman at dinner last night, despite Ray's increasingly angry texts about seeing us together. My phone buzzed again. Ray, we need to talk. Scarlett's hysterical. She tried to charge some things to the room, and now the purser's office is asking questions. I took another sip of champagne before replying. How much did she try to charge? The response came quickly. That's not the point. Actually, it is. Check your credit card statement. 3 minutes passed. Then, $3,000? She said she was just getting a massage. I let him stew for a moment before responding. Helicopter tours aren't cheap, honey. The typing bubbles appeared and disappeared several times before his next message. This isn't you, Sophia. You're not this cruel. Cruel? I snapped a photo of my view and sent it to him. Cruel is giving away the sweet I paid for. Cruel is letting your sister mock me behind my back. Cruel is watching your wife sleep on a couch while your sister lives like a queen on her dime. No response. I opened the cruise app one last time, checking the evening's schedule. The sunset dinner cruise I'd booked months ago showed one available seat. Mine. I clicked Edit Reservation. A new message appeared. Would you like to add guest? Connor Townshend? I looked over at his cabana. He was reading, looking perfectly content, and not at all like someone trying to hijack my vacation. Accept, I tapped. My phone immediately lit up with Ray's face. Decline. Then Scarlett's number. Decline. Finally, a text from Nora. Girl, you're trending in the cruise Facebook group. Someone shared your beach photo and now everyone's telling their toxic family vacation stories. I settled back into my cabana, feeling the warm sun and sea breeze on my skin. Let them talk, let them post, let them rage. I had champagne, boundaries, and a sunset dinner cruise with someone who actually respected them. The rest was just noise washing away with the tide. I was enjoying breakfast on my private balcony when I heard the commotion in the hallway. The door burst open. They must have convinced housekeeping to let them in. And there stood Scarlett, mascara streaking down her face, with Ray and Alexandra flanking her. You've ruined everything, Scarlett sobbed dramatically. Several passing guests slowed to watch the show. I'm having panic attacks because of you. Alexandra rushed to comfort her daughter. Look what you've done to my baby. I took another sip of my coffee. Interesting. Is this the same panic attack you were having yesterday at the pool bar? The one you treated with 6 pina coladas? How dare you? Alexandra stepped forward. We're calling corporate about this. Perfect, I said, pulling out my tablet. While you're at it, should we discuss these? I turned the screen toward them, showing an itemized list of declined charges. 37 attempted charges in 3 days. That's impressive, Scarlett. Ray's face went pale. 37? Let's see. Helicopter tour, private chef experience, jewelry from the ship's boutique. I scrolled through the list. Oh, and my personal favourite. A couple's massage charged to my account while you were telling everyone at the pool how your horrible sister-in-law was ruining your vacation. I needed those things, Scarlett wailed, for my anxiety. Your anxiety seems very expensive, I noted, and oddly focused on luxury items. Enough! Alexandra's voice shook with rage. Ray, are you going to let her talk to your sister like this? Ray stepped forward, then stopped as Gavin appeared in the doorway. Is everything all right here? The cruise director asked, though his expression suggested he knew exactly what was happening. We received noise complaints. Perfect timing, I said. I was just about to show them the security footage from yesterday. Scarlett's crying stopped abruptly. What security footage? From the spa, Gavin answered smoothly, where you attempted to access Mrs. Newman's account by claiming to be her. That's fraud, by the way. I never, Scarlett started, but Alexandra cut her off. We'll sue. This is harassment. Actually, Gavin pulled out his tablet, I have the footage right here. Would you like to view it? The legal department found it quite interesting. The colour drained from Scarlett's face. Ray, do something! But Ray was staring at the list of declined charges on my tablet. $3,000? $5,000? Scarlett, what were you thinking? I deserve nice things, she shrieked. But, Mum, tell him. Of course you do, darling, Alexandra soothed, then turned to me. This is all your fault. If you'd just given her the suite like a proper sister-in-law. A proper sister-in-law? I stood up. Let's talk about proper family behaviour. Is it proper to steal someone's vacation? To mock them behind their back? To commit credit card fraud? Now, see here. Alexandra started, but I wasn't finished. No, you see here. I handed Gavin my tablet. I'd like to file a formal complaint about being displaced from my suite under false pretences, and I'd like to press charges for the attempted fraud. You can't! Scarlett's voice hit a new octave. Ray, tell her she can't! But Ray was scrolling through his own phone now, face growing darker. My credit card. Scarlett, did you try to charge all this to my card too? I thought, she stammered. Mr. Price, I said calmly, could you please escort my guests out and ensure they understand that any further attempts to access my suite or accounts will result in legal action? With pleasure, Gavin replied. Though you should know, Mrs. Alexandra, you're not actually registered as a cruise guest. I'll need to see your visitor's pass. My what? Alexandra sputtered. All non-cruise guests must register at security, he explained. Otherwise, you're trespassing. I watched as the realization hit them. They had no power here, no control, no way to manipulate the situation. This isn't over, Alexandra hissed as Gavin led them toward the door. Actually, it is, I said, picking up my phone. Oh, and Ray, check your email. My lawyer sent some interesting paperwork this morning. Lawyer? His head snapped up. What, lawyer? The divorce kind, I replied. Consider it my contribution to the family drama. The door closed behind them, leaving blessed silence. Through the walls, I could hear Scarlett's wailing fade down the hallway, punctuated by Alexandra's threats and Ray's confused protests. My phone buzzed Nora. Well? I sent her a quick video of the security escort in progress. Just took out the trash, metaphorically speaking. Iconic! But what about Ray? I looked at the divorce papers on my tablet, then at the ocean beyond my balcony. Ray chose his side long ago. I'm choosing mine now. Another notification popped up from Connor. Dinner tonight? I hear there's a spot opening up at the captain's table. I smiled, watching a new day dawn over the endless horizon. Yes, I typed back. I think I'm finally ready for a seat at that table. After all, I'd paid for it. The captain's table gleamed with fine china and crystal as I took my seat. Connor pulled out my chair, a gesture so natural it made Ray's years of negligence even more apparent. Mrs. Newman? A server appeared with champagne. The captain sends his compliments and hopes you'll join him for the farewell reception tomorrow. Before I could respond, chaos erupted at the dining room entrance. That's my seat! Scarlett's voice carried across the restaurant. I'm a Newman! That's my family's table! Security blocked her path as she tried to push through, Ray and Alexandra close behind. Ma'am, this is a private event, the maitre d' explained. Premium guests only. I am premium, she shrieked. Tell them, Ray. Ray stepped forward, his face red. Sophia, enough is enough. You've made your point. Have I? I stood slowly, aware of every eye in the restaurant on us. Because you still seem to think this is some kind of game. Game? Alexandra scoffed. You're destroying this family. This family? I laughed, genuinely amused. You mean the family that stole my suite, that tried to commit credit card fraud? That family? Gavin materialized beside me. Should I call security? Please do, I said, and bring the documentation we discussed. Documentation? Ray's voice cracked. Gavin returned moments later with a thick folder. Your complete cruise record as requested. Shall I summarize for everyone? Scarlett tried to grab the folder, but Gavin smoothly stepped back. Let's see, he began. 37 attempted unauthorized charges totaling 12,167. 4 instances of attempted identity theft at various ship venues. 1 attempted suite reassignment using falsified documents. And, he paused for effect, 1 very interesting social media campaign claiming Mr. Newman paid for this entire cruise. That's private. Scarlett lunged forward again, but security caught her arms. Actually, I said, nothing about this is private. You made sure of that with your Instagram stories and Facebook posts. Should we pull those up too? Ray, Alexandra demanded, do something about your wife. Ex-wife, I corrected, holding up my phone. The papers were just delivered to our home address. Ray should be getting the notification any minute. Ray's phone buzzed on cue. His face went from red to white as he read the message. You can't, he stammered. I can, and I did, I said. Consider it my last gift to the family. Freedom from my common presence. But what about my followers? Scarlett wailed. I promised them exclusive content from the captain's table. Oh, you'll have content, Connor spoke up for the first time. Just not the kind you wanted. Security footage of attempted fraud tends to go viral in a different way. You wouldn't dare. Alexandra stepped forward, but Gavin blocked her path. Mrs. Alexandra, he said firmly, as an unregistered guest, you're currently trespassing. Shall I escort you to security, or would you prefer to leave voluntarily? She looked around the restaurant, finally noticing the dozens of phones recording the scene. This isn't over, she hissed. Actually, I picked up my champagne. It is completely over. The suite, the cruise, the marriage, all of it. Oh, and Scarlett, the cruise line has banned you from future bookings. Something about fraud prevention. You can't do this to me. Scarlett's mascara was running again. I'm an influencer. Former influencer, Connor corrected. Your social media accounts have been flagged for fraudulent activity. I believe that violates most platforms' terms of service. Security began gently but firmly escorting them out. Ray turned back one last time. Sophia, please, we can talk about this. We had 5 years to talk, I said. You chose not to listen. As they disappeared, Gavin turned to the remaining guests. Please enjoy your dinner, everyone. The chef has prepared something special tonight. Phone slowly lowered as the drama ended. I sat back down, hands shaking slightly. You okay? Connor asked quietly. Better than okay, I replied, surprising myself by meaning it. My phone buzzed. A text from Nora. Just saw the live stream someone posted. You are my hero. Then another notification. Invitation to captain's farewell reception. Status confirmed premium guest. Gavin appeared with fresh champagne. The captain asked me to personally ensure you'll attend tomorrow. He said, and I quote, "Anyone who handles family drama with that much class deserves a proper send-off." I smiled, raising my glass. Tell him I wouldn't miss it. To new beginnings, Connor offered. To boundaries, I added. My phone buzzed one final time. Ray, please don't do this. What will people think? I looked around the elegant dining room, at my perfect table setting, at the sunset painting the ocean gold beyond the windows. They'll think, I typed back, that I finally started treating myself the way I deserve to be treated. Then I turned off my phone and picked up the menu. After all, I had a captain's dinner to enjoy, and this time no one could take it from me. The final morning of the cruise, I sat in the ship's cafe sipping coffee and composing my Reddit post. The words flowed easily. I paid for a luxury cruise. Then my husband gave my suite to his sister. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the captain's reception last night. Videos of Scarlett's meltdown had gone viral in several cruise groups, with comments ranging from supportive to gleefully vindictive. Mind if I join you? Gavin appeared with his own coffee. I thought you'd want to see this. He slid his tablet across the table. On the screen was a cruise line incident report, complete with security photos of Scarlett attempting to use my ID at various venues. She's been blacklisted from all our partner cruise lines, he said. Your documentation was thorough. I learned to keep receipts, I replied, then noticed a familiar figure skulking near the cafe entrance. Speaking of documentation, Ray approached our table looking dishevelled. Sophia, please, can we talk? About what? I didn't look up from my phone. The divorce papers you were served? The credit card fraud? Or maybe your sister's social media meltdown? She's devastated, he said. Mum's talking about legal action. Perfect. I turned my phone to show him my screen. I just finished my Reddit post. Should I include the part about Alexandra trespassing, or save that for the legal proceedings? His face paled. You wouldn't. Click. I hit post. I would. Everything okay here? Connor appeared behind Ray, his presence somehow both casual and commanding. Mr. Newman was just leaving, Gavin said firmly. Unless he'd like another security escort. Ray backed away, finally understanding he had no power here. This isn't who you are, Sophia. No, I agreed. This is who I've become, someone who knows her worth. As he slunk away, my phone exploded with notifications. The Reddit post was gaining traction. Your story's trending, Gavin noted, checking his own phone. The cruise community doesn't take kindly to entitled behaviour. Speaking of entitled, Connor nodded toward the buffet, where Scarlett was trying to sneak into the premium breakfast area. A server quickly redirected her to the standard buffet line. How the mighty fool, I murmured, watching her pile eggs onto a plastic plate instead of her usual made-to-order omelette. My phone rang. Nora's FaceTime. I answered to find her practically bouncing. Girl, your post hit the front page. You're a legend. Also, did you see Scarlett's latest Instagram story? I'm blocked, I reminded her. Oh, honey, everyone screenshotted it. She's having a full meltdown about toxic positivity and family betrayal while sitting in economy class at the airport. Apparently, her credit cards were declined for the upgrade to first class. I couldn't help but smile. Karma comes at you fast. Mrs. Newman, a crew member, appeared at our table. The captain asked me to deliver this. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a voucher for a future cruise, marked Premium Plus status with a handwritten note. For showing us all how to handle difficult situations with grace. Captain James. Will you use it? Connor asked. I looked around the ship that had become the setting for my liberation. Absolutely, but next time I'm booking the owner's suite. Solo traveller? He raised an eyebrow. We'll see, I smiled. I've learned to be selective about my travel companions. My phone buzzed again. Alexandra. You've made a powerful enemy. Hope you're proud of yourself. Actually, I typed back, I am. Very proud. P.S. Your country club might be interested in the video of you threatening ship staff. I hear they're quite strict about member behaviour. Savage, Nora commented, still on FaceTime. I'm screenshotting everything for posterity. I stood up, walking to the railing for one last look at the ocean. Behind me, I could hear Scarlett's distant complaints about the buffet food, Ray's defeated sighs, and Alexandra's impotent threats. But in front of me, nothing but open water and endless possibilities. Ready to disembark? Gavin asked. Almost, I said, opening my phone's camera. Just need one last photo. I snapped a perfect selfie with the sunrise, captioned it, "Living my best life," in the correct suite, and posted it to every social media platform I had. Now, I'm ready, I said, picking up my bag. Though I do have one question. When can I book that owner's suite for next year? Gavin grinned. I'll have my office call you. Premium Plus status has its privileges. As I walked toward the gangway, head held high, I heard Scarlett's last attempt at drama. But where will we stay when we visit her? You won't, I called back without turning around. I'm downsizing to a place with no guest room, but I hear the local Motel 6 has great rates. My phone buzzed one final time, a Reddit notification. Your post has been awarded platinum, I smiled, stepping onto solid ground with newfound confidence. Let them rage, let them plot, let them cry about family loyalty. I had my freedom, my dignity, and a future cruise booking. In the owner's suite, naturally.